Chapter 155. Yang Chuan coldly glanced at everyone. "Take them all down," Yang Chuan shouted coldly. "Yes." The embroidered Yi army replied immediately. "Yang Chuan has gone mad. Crown Prince, let's go, let's go." A consecrator of Chu shouted. "Let's go." The Crown Prince of Chu immediately shouted. "Crown Prince, we'll protect you. Quick, no one can stop us once we're out of Yangjing," the consecrators shouted. Not only the Crown Prince of the Chu Kingdom, but the Crown Prince of the Han Kingdom and the Crown Prince of the Wei Kingdom also knew that Yang Chuan was about to go crazy. All of them fled outside under the escort of a group of experts. "Those who don't surrender, die," Yang Chuan said coldly. Boom. A rain of arrows suddenly shot toward the group of experts. On the other side, Yang Di's face also twitched. Yang Di didn't expect Yang Chuan to be so impulsive. Kill? How could he kill him? Yang Emperor wanted to stop him, but he didn't know what to say. This was because the embroidered uniform army was not something he could order around. A large number of experts died under the rain of arrows. "Those who don't surrender will be killed," the embroidered uniform army shouted. "Crown Prince, run." The Chu country's consecrators shouted. "Yang Chuan, I'll kill you." A group of consecrators rushed over. Bam! 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 Under the rain of arrows, the 5 Spirit Realm consecrators were all killed by the shooting sun arrows. The Essence State. So what if he was in the elite realm? In front of the shooting sun arrows, he couldn't even withstand a single blow. Moreover, there were thousands of shooting sun arrows. The Crown Prince of Chu was shot to death by an arrow. Prince Chu is dead. Not far away, Yang Emperor's face twitched. This Yang Chuan was too undisciplined and out of control. That was the Crown Prince of the Chu country. Once he died, the Chu country would never rest until one of them was annihilated. The Crown Prince of Korea was also killed by an arrow. "Crown Prince!" the group of experts exclaimed. But there was no use crying out in alarm. The Crown Prince of Korea had already been blown to smithereens. The Crown Prince of Wei Nation and the Crown Prince of Zheng Nation felt a chill in their hearts when they saw the other 2 Crown Princes' deaths. Escape? How could he escape? Who would be able to escape from that divine arrow? "I surrender." Liu Gang was the first to admit defeat. When the 2 princes saw that Liu Gang had admitted defeat, they immediately knew that the situation was hopeless. The Yang Chuan in front of them was simply a madman. "Put down your weapons, we surrender," the Crown Prince of Wei Kingdom shouted. Clang! Clang! In the blink of an eye, under Yang Chuan's high pressure, everyone surrendered. "Tie them all up," Yang Chuan shouted. "Yes, sir," the Brocade Yi army replied. Although Yang Emperor and the other experts of the Great Yang were delighted, they soon frowned. This was a mortal enmity with the 4 nations. "Yang Emperor, if worse comes to worst, we'll just give up on those cities. Why are you capturing us? Yang Chuan is mad. Don't make the same mistake as him. Yang Emperor, let us go. We can talk about anything." The Crown Princes of Zheng Nation and Wei Nation were begging for help. "Yang Chuan," Yang Emperor said with an ugly expression. "We'll talk about the Yang state's own affairs later. Let's unite against the outside world first." Yang Chuan directly stopped Yang Emperor from saying what he wanted to say. Yang Emperor was embarrassed and didn't know what to say. "I'll kill whoever dares to bully Yang Emperor again," Yang Chuan shouted coldly. Ka. The shooting sun arrows were aimed at the representatives of the 4 nations again. The representatives of the 4 nations were tongue-tied. They looked at Yang Chuan in a daze. They had seen domineering people, but they had never seen such a domineering person. He wouldn't even let them beg for mercy. "In the sky." "Disciple, what's wrong?" the Dugu Sword Emperor asked. Chapter 156. Uncle Wang's actions will cause a war between the 5 nations. "What should we do?" Yang Wudi said anxiously. "You have nothing to do with the world. Don't think about it. Besides, I think that Yang Chuan is not a hot-headed person. Otherwise, he wouldn't have plotted against the Qi Jing people. The Dugu Sword Emperor shook his head. On the other side. Young miss, this Yang Chuan is crazy. Changqing shouted. No, he is domineering. The woman exclaimed. Ah! Changqing was puzzled. This person is not ordinary. The woman shook her head. What? He is making enemies with the 4 nations. He is going to consign the Yang state to eternal damnation. Changqing did not understand. No, think again. Think again. The woman laughed. Below. The embroidered Yi army only restrained the people of Zheng and Wei, but they were much rougher to the people of Chu and Korea. After all, in the eyes of the embroidered Yi army, their crown prince was dead. The Yang state must be the enemy. Why should they be polite? The difference in attitude immediately attracted the attention of the people of the 4 nations. Don't kill me. I am classmates with the Prime Minister of Yang State, Changqing. Don't kill me. A man among the people of Chu suddenly exclaimed. Me too. I am also Changqing's classmate. Another person among the Korea team exclaimed. Oh, you know the Prime Minister of Yang State? Yang Chuan narrowed his eyes. Not only Yang Chuan, but also Yang Emperor raised his eyebrows. The officials of Yang State also showed disbelief. You are lying. How could Changqing know you? Yang Emperor glared. I really know Changqing. Changqing, where are you? Come and save me, Changqing. Changqing, come and save me, the 2 of them exclaimed. In the sky. When Changqing saw the scene below, his expression immediately changed. These 2 idiots. Changqing said with an ugly expression. The woman sighed and said, let's go down. Swish. The 2 of them descended from the sky. Changqing? It's you. Yang Di looked at Changqing in surprise. When did his most trusted subject learn how to fly? Changqing, you're here. Hurry up and let me go. Eldest miss. Another person said in surprise. Greetings, miss. It's great that you're here. Save me. Greetings, eldest miss. Greetings, eldest miss. It wasn't just Chu, Daihan, Zheng, and Wei that were trapped as well. They were all dressed in Confucian robes and were extremely respectful to the woman. Eldest miss. Yang Emperor looked at the woman in surprise. At this moment, everyone could tell that something was amiss. Because the 5 people who knew this woman were actually from the 5 nations. Scattered across the 5 nations? Who exactly was this woman? The woman was dressed in white and wore a bamboo hat. Her face couldn't be seen clearly. Changqing, what's going on? Yang Emperor shouted. Changqing sighed slightly and turned to Yang Emperor. He bowed and said, Yang Emperor, I'm sorry for hiding it from you before. But I've never done anything wrong to the Yang state all these years. And these 4 people, like me, are from the 4 nations. You. Yang Emperor said angrily. No matter how nice Changqing's words were, Yang Emperor knew that his most important subject had never been loyal to him. Not only Yang Emperor, but the Crown Prince of Zheng and Crown Prince of Wei were also shocked. How could the Prime Minister of his own country? Who are you? Yang Chuan stared at the woman in the bamboo hat and asked. I'm Meng Rongrong from the Julu Academy. These are the students of the Julu Academy. I want to take them with me, the woman said with a smile. Julu Academy? Everyone was confused. So it's the Julu Academy, the Dugu Sword Emperor said in a low voice. Master, what kind of place is the Julu Academy? Yang Wudi asked. There are 4 major academies in the world. Daoist Palace, Buddhist Sect, Demon's Den, Feng Shui, and even the major families have to give face to the 4 major academies. The Julu Academy is one of them, the Dugu Sword Emperor explained. Huh? Yang Wudi was confused. The mortals below had never heard of the Julu Academy. The Julu Academy? They are my prisoners. Why should I let you take them away? Yang Chuan said in a low voice. Chapter 157. Julu Academy? They are my prisoners. Why should I let you take them away? Yang Chuan said solemnly. You. Changqing glared at him. Meng Rongrong stopped Changqing. Haven't you heard of the Julu Academy? Didn't your father tell you? Meng Rongrong laughed. Never heard of it. Yang Chuan said doubtfully. Taking these people away is of no help to your grand plan at all. I can guarantee that they will not return to the 4 countries. What do you think? Meng Rongrong did not continue to pester the Julu Academy. Oh! Yang Chuan narrowed his eyes and stared at Meng Rongrong, who was wearing a bamboo hat. Great plan. Meng Rongrong could tell? If that's the case, I'll take it that you agree. Meng Rongrong smiled. No. Yang Chuan shouted again. Meng Rongrong was puzzled. They have to stay in Beijing for 3 months. I can let them go, but they can't leave. Yang Chuan said solemnly. You. Chongqing's eyes were burning with anger. He had never met such a difficult person. Okay. Meng Rongrong suddenly smiled. Eldest miss. Chongqing was puzzled. I originally wanted to stay and take a look. Since that's the case, isn't that even better? Meng Rongrong smiled. Yes. You can rest in Chongqing's residence for the time being. Yang Chuan nodded. Oh. Aren't you worried that we will leave? Meng Rongrong asked curiously. You're in the divine realm. Since you can make a promise to someone in the strength realm, of course, I'll believe you. Yang Chuan said calmly. Meng Rongrong also frowned. Did he see through my cultivation again? What did he think? Rumble. Suddenly, rumbling sounds came from all directions. Everyone looked up. In the distance, a black dot on the horizon instantly approached. It was a 6-meter-long bat. The bat flapped its wings, causing a gale to blow. It circled in the air, its eyes ferocious. Bat God, Bat God. Third senior brother, who had fallen to the ground, cried out in surprise. Crack. Bat God looked in Yang Chuan's direction and suddenly opened his mouth to roar. A huge sound wave rushed out, and the air around them seemed to overlap. Ah! Under the sound waves, a group of embroidered uniform army soldiers were sent flying. Shoot, shoot them down, Liu Jin shouted. Swish, swish. A large number of shooting sun arrows soared into the sky and shot towards the bat demons. At this moment, Yang Chuan's third senior brother, who was not far away, moved his finger slightly, as if he was about to move. Kaka. The bats circled around, dodging the rain of arrows and constantly disrupting the entire battlefield. Under the sound waves, a large number of cracks appeared on the ground. Ah! Many people covered their ears and rolled around in pain. Third senior brother clenched his fist. The fear from before was slowly receding. The bat sound waves helped third senior brother to reopen his blocked meridians. Ta! Yang Chuan kicked third senior brother's lower abdomen. The meridians that had just been reopened were once again broken by Yang Chuan's kick. You. Third senior brother's face turned red. You still want to run after falling into my hands? Yang Chuan smiled coldly. Swish. In the sky, a shooting sun arrow suddenly shot through the bat demon's wings. War tilde 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 tilde. The bat demon let out a cry like a baby. Swish. Swish. Another 2 arrows shot through the bat demon's wings. War. War. The bat demon cried out in pain. Bat God, let's go and inform eldest senior brother. Quick, quick, quick. Third senior brother curled up and shouted. War. The bat demon circled for a while and soared into the sky. Chapter 158. He turned his head and looked at the fallen third senior brother. Then, he spread his injured wings and flew away. Where do you think you're going? The embroidered uniform army shouted and drew their bows again. There's no need to shoot anymore. Yang Chuan shouted. Yes. The embroidered uniform army finally stopped. Yang Chuan watched the bat demon leave. He pondered for a moment before looking at the third senior brother again. Lord, how do we guard this person? Liu Jin was a little troubled. After all, this person was in the chi state. Once he broke free, the consequences would be unimaginable. Pierce his shoulder blades and throw him into the prison, Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. Yes. Everyone answered. When the third senior brother heard that, he immediately shouted, How dare you? How dare you? My master won't let you go. If it weren't for King Yi Mui, I would have killed you right now. Yang Chuan said coldly. You. The third senior brother trembled. He looked at Yang Chuan in horror. Throw them all into the prison, Liu Jin commanded the embroidered uniform army. In the blink of an eye, the representatives of the 4 states were all prisoners. Yang Emperor and the other Yang state officials looked on numbly. There were thousands of words in their hearts, but they didn't know where to start. This matter was, Yang Chuan slowly walked towards Yang Emperor. Greetings, Emperor equal to the Emperor, the Yang state officials all said solemnly. Yang Chuan, what are you? Yang Emperor frowned. This is not the place to talk. Let's go back. Yang Chuan shook his head. Okay. Yang Emperor said with a complicated look in his eyes. In the sky. Master, I want to hear Uncle Wang's explanation later. Yang Wudi looked at the Dugu Sword Emperor. Go. Deal with the secular matters. The Dugu Sword Emperor nodded. Thank you, Master. Yang Wudi's face lit up with joy. In the evening, in Beijing. Zhao Manor. Zhao Manor's main hall. An old man with silvery white hair that was combed neatly sat in the main seat. The old man was dignified and his eyes glowed. There were 7 or 8 Zhao family disciples sitting on both sides. Master, is what happened at the drill ground today true? A disciple of the Zhao family asked incredulously. It's true. Yang Chuan has detained the envoys of the 4 countries. Moreover, his embroidered uniform army is personally guarding the prison. Patriarch Zhao said in a deep voice. Yang Chuan is crazy. He wants to consign the Yang state to eternal damnation. A disciple shouted. Beyond redemption? Wouldn't it be perfect if the Yang state was in chaos? Once chaos breaks out, I, Zhao Tianwang, can break away from the Yang state, establish a dynasty, and ascend to the throne? Patriarch Zhao said in a deep voice. That's right. The group of disciples laughed. My Zhao clan's power has already matured. Now, we just need an opportunity, and that opportunity is not far away. Do your job well and don't make any mistakes. Zhao Tianwang said in a deep voice. Yes, Patriarch. Don't worry. The group of disciples replied. Patriarch, Yang Chuan's embroidered uniform army is not to be underestimated. A disciple said with a frown. Don't worry. In a few months, Yang Chuan will enter the gate of heaven. His embroidered uniform army relies on divine weapons. Once Yang Chuan leaves, the embroidered uniform army will be mine, right? Zhao Tianwang said confidently. Yes, Patriarch. No matter how strong the embroidered uniform army is, they can't escape from Patriarch's hand. The disciples said excitedly. Millimeter, you may leave. Zhao Tianwang said. Yes. The crowd retreated. The crowd retreated. Zhao Tianwang stood up and closed the door. He walked to the corner of the wall and tapped on the wall a few times. Suddenly, a secret entrance appeared on the ground. Zhao Tianwang walked into the depths. There was a secret room in the depths. The secret room was surrounded by yin qi. Zhao Tianwang looked nervous. He calmed himself down and continued walking. Who is it? A cold voice suddenly came from the dark secret room. Senior Poisoner, it's me, Zhao Tianwang. Zhao Tianwang tried to curry favor. What are you doing here? Didn't I ask you to keep an eye on the Dugu Sword Emperor? The voice in the dark said coldly. I've been keeping an eye on him. However, he's in the Crown Prince's palace and hasn't come out. I have something else to report. Zhao Tianwang said respectfully. Oh. That Yang Chuan entered the capital today and went on a killing spree. Zhao Tianwang explained in detail what happened during the day. Zhao Tianwang, you're Xinkuan Kuroha's disciple, right? Poisoner sneered. Yes. Master took me in as his disciple 5 years ago and asked me to rebel against the Yang state and set up a trap to exterminate the Yang clan, Zhao Tianwang said respectfully. Do you know why he took you in? Poisoner said indifferently. I don't know. Maybe he saw something in me. Bullshit. What's so good about you? You're already so old, but your bone structure is still so weak. Let me tell you. It's because Yang Dao was killed by Xinkuan Kuroha. Do you understand now? Poisoner said coldly. Ah. Yes, I understand. Zhao Tianwang frowned. While I'm recuperating, try your best to keep a low profile. Don't cause any trouble and attract the Dugu Sword Emperor. When I'm healed, you can do whatever you want. At that time, I'll give you a good fortune. Poisoner said in a deep voice. Yes, I'll definitely protect you. Zhao Tianwang said respectfully. Go. Don't disturb me again. Poisoner said in a deep voice. Yes. Zhao Tianwang slowly retreated. Yang capital, Imperial Palace. In a large hall. A banquet was set up in the hall. Yang Emperor sat in the main seat. Yang Chuan sat in the guest seat on the east side. Yang Wudi sat in the guest seat on the west side. There were only 3 people at the banquet. 2 eunuchs stood behind Yang Emperor. Liu Jin stood behind Yang Chuan. The hall was closed. There was no one else. It's been more than 7 years since we last saw each other. I can't believe that you've grown so much in just 7 years. Yang Emperor smiled. Yes, it's been more than 7 years. I'm sure you haven't been feeling well all these years. Yang Chuan smiled. Yang Wudi didn't interrupt. He just watched. Yang Emperor looked slightly embarrassed. He drank a cup of wine and took a deep breath. Indeed, I've been prejudiced against you all these years. After all, your identity is too sensitive. You're a threat to my throne, Yang Emperor suddenly said with a serious face. Father. Yang Wudi looked at Yang Emperor in surprise. Yang Emperor waved his hand, indicating that he shouldn't interrupt. However, I understand what happened at the drill ground today. Emperor? Throne? Haha, what a joke. In front of the Immortal sect, it's really a joke. Yang Emperor said bitterly. The Yang state lost your father. The Yang state can only be bullied. Without the support of the Immortal sect, what can a great dynasty do? Yang Emperor shook his head and said. Yang Chuan looked at Yang Emperor. He knew that he wasn't finished. The war between the 5 countries is about to begin. The Yang state is at the moment of life and death. I don't want the Yang state to be destroyed in my hands. Therefore, I want to pass the imperial seal to you. I want to recommend you to the throne. Yang Emperor stared at Yang Chuan and said solemnly. As he spoke, a eunuch behind him held a jade box. Obviously, the jade box contained the Yang state's imperial seal. Father. Yang Wudi said in surprise. Chapter 159. The war between the 5 nations is about to begin. The Yang state is at the moment of life and death. I don't want the Yang state to be destroyed in my hands. Therefore, I want to pass the imperial seal to you. Yang Emperor stared at Yang Chuan and said solemnly. As he spoke, a eunuch behind him came forward with a jade box. Clearly, the jade box contained the Yang state's imperial seal. Imperial father, Yang Wudi exclaimed. Drinking the fine wine, Yang Chuan's gaze was focused as he stared at the Yang Emperor, analyzing whether the Yang Emperor was speaking the truth or not. Father, you are Yang Emperor. How can you? Yang Wudi said anxiously. Yang Emperor? No, Wudi. The Yang state was originally a king, and Yang Chuan was also the legitimate ruler of the Yang state. Yang Emperor shook his head. But. Yang Wudi was still unwilling to give up. Yang Emperor said in a low voice, no buts. In the royal family, you are the only one with potential. Your brothers and sisters are useless. I originally wanted to pass the throne to you, but you have entered the Immortal sect and have a better future. You can't miss this opportunity. But. Yang Wudi was still frowning. If I hand the Yang state over to your brothers, it will be destroyed in the blink of an eye. No, even if I take control of the Yang state, it will be destroyed sooner or later. Only Yang Chuan, the emperor, can carry the banner of the Yang state. The Yang emperor said solemnly. Oh! Yang Chuan stared at Yang emperor in confusion. Your embroidered uniform army should be more than enough to fight against the armies of other countries. As for the participation of the Immortal sects of other countries, you also have the Dae sect behind you. Although your father is dead, the Dae sect will not sit by and watch you die. As long as you are the emperor, the Dae sect will definitely protect the Yang state. As long as we strive for a few decades, Crown Prince Yang Wudi will have completely grown up. At that time, he will be able to protect the Yang state for generations to come, Yang Emperor said with certainty. Yang Emperor spoke selflessly, but he couldn't fool Yang Chuan. He smiled and took a sip of wine. Father, Uncle Wang could have entered the Immortal sect and had the opportunity to live forever. How can he be trapped on the throne? Yang Wudi frowned and asked worriedly. Invincible. Yang Emperor's eyes widened. Imperial Father, I feel that this is unfair to Uncle Wang. Uncle Wang could have cultivated for a long time. If he became the emperor, he would be old after a few decades. It would be too late to cultivate then. Moreover, after a few decades, would the Dai sect still care about the favor of grandfather Yang Dao? Yang Wudi shook his head. Unfilial son, I am doing this for your own good. For the sake of the Yang clan, Yang Emperor said angrily. Yang Emperor originally wanted to use the righteousness of the Yang clan's bloodline to restrain Yang Chuan, but he didn't expect his son to undermine him. What you are doing is wrong, Yang Wudi said stubbornly. Ha 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 ha. Yang Chuan suddenly laughed and interrupted the father and son's argument. The two frowned and looked at Yang Chuan. There is no need to argue. Thank you for your kindness. I can take the throne, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Really? Yang Emperor's eyes lit up. Yes. Yang Chuan nodded affirmatively. However, when he saw Yang Chuan nod, Yang Emperor didn't know why, but he suddenly felt a trace of reluctance and unwillingness. Then please accept the imperial seal. Tomorrow, I will announce to the officials that you will ascend the throne on an auspicious day. Yang Emperor looked at the box with reluctance. Yang Chuan smiled and shook his head. Why are you going back on your words? Yang Emperor frowned. I originally wanted to establish a dynasty. My original plan was not necessarily to establish the Yang state. After all, you and I are of the same bloodline. I didn't want to fight with you. However, since you are willing to give up the throne, I will accept it. Don't worry. As long as I am alive, I will protect the Yang clan, Yang Chuan said solemnly. Chapter 160. Good. Good. Yang Emperor smiled. But not now. Yang Chuan shook his head. Yang Emperor was slightly surprised. I have the opportunity to become an immortal cultivator and have entered the Dai sect. I want to ask you, do you want to enter the cultivation world? Yang Chuan asked seriously. Enter the cultivation world? Yang Emperor's eyes lit up, but then he said bitterly, who doesn't want to become an immortal? But my foundation is very poor. Your father also said that I didn't have the opportunity to become an immortal cultivator. Which immortal sect would accept me? Good. Give up the throne and I'll help you. It's a kind of compensation. Yang Chuan thought for a while and said. You, help me. Yang Emperor was slightly surprised. If your foundation is poor, then you can use a lot of resources. Others need one, but you can use 10. I'll lead you into the cultivation world and help you reach the Qi state. What do you think? Yang Chuan smiled. Ah, how is that possible? Yang Emperor was overjoyed. Why? You don't believe me? Yang Chuan smiled. No, I believe you. It's just that. Ha ha ha, you can eat the 3-colored sacred cow on the drill ground. Yang Chuan laughed. You're giving it to me. You can have it. Cultivate well. When you reach the Qi state, you'll have to rely on yourself. Yang Chuan nodded. When I reach the Qi state, I'll be able to establish myself in the cultivation world. I don't need your help anymore. Yang Emperor said excitedly. Okay, then you can continue to deal with the affairs of the Yang state for me. Yang Chuan thought for a while and said. What? You're not going to ascend the throne now? Yang Emperor frowned. I'm going to the Dai sect to take a look. When I'm done, I'll come back and ascend the throne, Yang Chuan said in a low voice. But. Yang Di frowned. Yang Chuan shook his head and said, besides, you'll need a lot of resources to reach the Qi state. I need to get my father's things back. Oh, all right. Yang Emperor nodded. But there was still something on his mind. Don't worry, I have detained the emissaries of the 4 countries. I will take care of this matter. Before I go to the Dai sect, I will take care of everything properly. You can rest assured and continue to be Yang Emperor, Yang Chuan said with a smile. All right, let me give you a toast. Yang Emperor smiled. Yang Chuan nodded. Yang Wudi looked at Yang Chuan in confusion. After the banquet. After sending off Yang Chuan, Yang Di and Yang Wudi stood at the door and looked at Yang Chuan's back. Father, do you really believe Uncle Wang? Yang Wudi frowned. Yang Di narrowed his eyes. I can't believe all of his words, but I can't let go of this opportunity. He is different from you. He has Yang Dao's inheritance in the Dai sect. He has a lot of cultivation resources. Since he promised to help me enter the cultivation world, I must fight for it. Although power is good, I need to be alive to enjoy it. Once I become immortal, what can I not have? Yang Di said in a deep voice. All right. Yang Wudi nodded. On the other side, Yang Chuan walked around the palace with Liu Jin. As they walked, Yang Chuan looked at the bright moonlight and his face showed a trace of satisfaction. Your Highness, I have already ordered people to tidy up the Emperor's palace, Liu Jin said from the side. Haha, what's wrong? I see that you have been holding back for a long time. Do you have something to say? Yang Chuan laughed. Old slave just doesn't understand why the Lord agreed to Yang Di's request. What's so good about being an emperor? This world belongs to immortals. Only immortality and immortality are the most important things, Liu Jin said with a complicated expression. Ha ha ha, you don't understand. Being an emperor is to become the most powerful immortal. Yang Chuan laughed. Ah! Liu Jin was stunned. Emperor? Immortal? Was there a connection? Old slave doesn't understand the Lord's meaning. But if the Lord wants to be an emperor, does it have to be in the Yang state? This will let Yang Di get so many cultivation resources, Liu Jin said with some reluctance. Ha ha ha, I am the rightful ruler in the Yang state. I can take advantage of the situation to sit on the throne. Why not go to the Yang state? A country and a sect are two different concepts. Although the Yang state is small, the country's system is complete. This is what I value the most. A complete system can save me a lot of trouble. I just need to strengthen it and strengthen it. As for those cultivation resources, it's nothing. Yang Chuan laughed. If that's the case, why didn't the Lord take the imperial seal just now? Liu Jin asked curiously. Taking a deep breath, Yang Chuan shook his head and said, it's not time yet. I have to go to the cultivation world. It's not to find a master to cultivate, but to recruit a group of truly capable people to help me conquer the world. Recruit people? Liu Jin was slightly stunned. That's right. Yang Chuan nodded. Yes, old slave understands. Liu Jin nodded respectfully. It's good that you understand. Tomorrow, gather all the information on all the ministers in the Yang state and give it to me. I want to see if there are any talents in the Yang state that I want. Yang Chuan said solemnly. Yes, Lord, rest assured. 2 days later, in the morning at the Emperor's palace, Yang Chuan washed up and walked out of the courtyard. Hu Guang and Liu Jin were waiting outside the courtyard. Hu Guang, have you made the arrangements? Yang Chuan stared at Hu Guang. Yes, my first army has been sent out in 3 groups. Each group has 900 people. They left Yangjing last night. There are only 300 people left in Yangjing for the Lord's command. Hu Guang said respectfully. Lord, there are only 900 people in each group. Can they complete the mission? Liu Jin was a little worried. This time, let's give them a chance to hone themselves. If a jade isn't polished, it won't amount to anything, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Yes. The 2 of them answered. Let's go. We'll go to Xingluo Mountain Villa and meet the imperial tutor, Yifeng? Yang Chuan said as he mounted his horse. Yes. The 2 of them mounted their horses. 100 people from the imperial tutor followed behind them. They galloped out of the city. Lord, Yifeng is already old. What's the use of looking for him? Hu Guang asked, puzzled. Old people cherish their lives. Old people are dignified. When a person is about to die, they can see through many things. Besides, so what if he's old? He's 92 years old. He's just a kid in the cultivation world. In the past 2 days, I've read all kinds of records about him. Although he only wrote about how he succeeded, I could feel that there was a lot of planning before he succeeded. Plus, he's very famous. His disciples are all over the Yang state. If he's really thinking for me, he'll be a pillar of the country, Yang Chuan said with certainty. A pillar of the country? Liu Jin was surprised. Nothing is certain yet. This trip is to verify it, Yang Chuan said solemnly. If the Lord wants to see him, we can just summon him. Why do we have to go there personally? Liu Jin frowned. No, if he's a capable person, I'll pay him a visit personally. It's fine if we talk about it now, but don't be rude when the time comes, Yang Chuan said with a deep voice. Yes, old slave understands. Liu Jin immediately said respectfully. Go. A group of people galloped out of the city towards Xingluo Mountain Villa. Chapter 161. Yangjing, Prime Minister's residence. Changqing had been removed from his post, but because of the Emperor's permission, he was still living in the Prime Minister's residence. In a large hall. Young miss, there's no need for the 5 of us to stay in the imperial court anymore, a scholar said to Meng Rongrong. Yes, we've gathered all the information, the operations of the imperial court and all the systems have been recorded. We can go back and report it to the principal, another scholar said. Meng Rongrong sat at the head of the table, drinking tea as she looked at the 5 people from the Julu Academy. All? Meng Rongrong smiled. It should be all. Changqing nodded. Meng Rongrong shook her head and sighed. It's not all. I've seen this information, and it shouldn't be of much use. Then, what does the principal want? It's not good for us to go back to our countries now. Another person frowned. That's not right, young miss. If you want to take us away, who can stop you? Changqing frowned. She shook her head. Meng Rongrong thought for a while and said, before coming here, I've traveled around the mortal world, but I've never seen an emperor like Yang Chuan. Yang Chuan? He's not an emperor. Changqing shook his head. Isn't he? Let's wait and see. Meng Rongrong smiled. Young miss, are we just going to wait? Changqing was puzzled. Wait. We won't wait. What's Yang Chuan doing recently? Meng Rongrong asked. Last night, more than 2,000 members of the embroidered uniform army left the city. Their whereabouts are unknown. As expected, this Yang Chuan is indeed bold. Meng Rongrong's eyes lit up. Young miss, where did the embroidered uniform army go? Just wait, you'll know soon enough. Meng Rongrong kept them in suspense. Early this morning, Yang Chuan led 100 members of the embroidered army and left the city. Looking at the direction, it should be the Star Luo Mountain Villa, Changqing said. Star Luo Villa? Is this the residence of the imperial tutor of 3 dynasties, Yi Feng? Meng Rongrong asked in surprise. Yes. Keep an eye on him. Meng Rongrong said calmly. Yes. East of Yangjing City. The forest was densely packed and there were many lakes. The scenery was extremely pleasant. This Grand Preceptor Yi Feng really knows how to choose a place. This is the best place to retire. Liu Jin sighed. It's rare to see a brick road paved in the middle of a mountain forest. Hu Guang said in a strange tone. At the very least, you don't have to worry about not being able to find your way, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Soon, everyone saw the entrance of a valley in the distance. Beside the valley was a stone tablet. Star Luo Villa. A few household servants were standing at the entrance. However, they looked extremely proper. Lord, I heard that many of the household servants in Star Luo Villa used to be soldiers, Hu Guang said. Who are you? A household servant immediately shouted. Yang State's emperor is here. Why aren't you letting your master come out? Liu Jin shouted. Liu Jin, what did I tell you before we came? Yang Chuan frowned and said. Yes. Liu Jin immediately knew that she was wrong. Emperor's emperor? The household servant frowned. At this moment, a person beside him whispered, he is indeed the emperor's emperor. I saw him 2 days ago in Yangjing. Greetings to the Lord. The household servant immediately said respectfully. Yes. Is Grand Preceptor Yi Feng here? Yang Chuan said with a smile. The Villa Lord is here. Does the Lord want to see the villa, Lord? The household servant asked. That's right. Yang Chuan nodded. The villa lord is old. 3 years ago, he announced that he won't see any outsiders. Unless. The household servant frowned. Chapter 162. How dare you? Liu Jin said angrily again. However, Yang Chuan waved his hand and stopped Liu Jin. Unless what? Yang Chuan said with a smile. Villa Master has not met anyone in recent years. Even when Yang Emperor invited Villa Master to his birthday celebration, Villa Master did not appear. In Xingluo Mountain Villa, apart from the servants and Villa Master's descendants, there is only one kind of people who can meet Villa Master. Oh! The best chess players in the world, the people who have reached the pinnacle of chess, can meet Villa Master after they have played chess with Villa Master and obtained his approval. The household servant explained. Play chess? Yang Chuan asked curiously. Yes. Villa Master is old and wants to do his favorite thing in his later years, which is playing chess. Right now, there are dozens of chess masters in the valley outside the manor, playing chess with the manor head or solving the endgame. If your highness is interested, you might as well come with me. It's just that. The servant looked around at the embroidered uniform army. Okay, I'll go with you. Liu Jin, Hua Guang, and choose 4 more people to follow me in. Yang Chuan said with a smile. Yes. Everyone dismounted. Yang Chuan and the others walked to the entrance of the valley. Lord, please. The household servant said respectfully. Okay. Following the household servant, Yang Chuan entered the valley. The valley was very large, and there were some exquisite pavilions not far away. Dozens of people in loose robes were racking their brains to look at some Go boards. Clearly, these were the chess players that the household servant had mentioned. Some servants poured tea and water for everyone. On the other side of the valley, there was a narrow path. Clearly, there was a valley within the valley that could be entered. Some servants went back and forth to the valley within the valley. They're here, they're here. Master Yi's new chess pieces are here. The group of chess players immediately surrounded them. The 10 household servants who came out of the valley within the valley were quickly surrounded. Yang Chuan stepped forward. The group of Go players did not pay attention to Yang Chuan's group. After all, there were too many people who came here every day. When they got closer, Yang Chuan understood. There were a total of 10 Go boards arranged in a row. There was only one person sitting on each chessboard, as if there were no opponents. The 10 household servants who had just come out of the valley quickly placed chess pieces on the 10 chessboards. Master Yi, this is a brilliant move. Now that Master Yi has left, it won't be easy for us to place our pieces. Ha ha ha, you've lost. With Master Yi's move, you have no chance of making a comeback. The onlookers kept commenting on the 10 games of Go. What's the meaning of this? Liu Jin asked the household servant beside her. These 10 are the Go masters of their respective provinces. They came here to seek guidance from the Manor Lord. The Manor Lord fought against the 10 Go masters alone. This is already the 3rd day, and no one has been able to defeat the Manor Lord. They are tired, so they are resting in the surrounding houses. When they are free, they will come and play with the Manor Lord across the mountain, the household servant said proudly. Play across the mountain? Yang Chuan said with a smile. That's right. Look at these dozens of people. It's not just our Yang state. Zheng state, Chu state, Han state, Wei state, and all the other countries' experts have gathered here. However, no one has been able to defeat the Manor Lord, the household servant said proudly. Fighting against the 10 Go masters alone? Grand Preceptor Yi Feng's Go skills are too amazing, Liu Jin said in surprise. Let's take a look first. Yang Chuan said with a smile. Yang Chuan looked at the chess pieces on the chessboard. Lord, in fact, the order of the chess pieces on each game is recorded. Would the Lord like to take a look? The household servant said with a smile. All right. Soon, the household servant returned with a piece of paper filled with Go stones. Every Go stone had a number on it, indicating the order in which the chess pieces were placed. Yang Chuan carefully looked at each piece of paper, and his expression turned increasingly grave. Chapter 163. When Xiao Chen finished reading all 10 pieces of paper, his gaze fell on the Go boards of the 10 Go games. He is indeed an expert, Yang Chuan said happily after letting out a long sigh. Lord, how is the Grand Tutor's Go skills? Hua Guang asked, feeling curious. Low-ranked Go players compete. They pursue victory and defeat, seeking instant benefits. Although their Go skills are strong, they are limited to skill and not the Go Dao. Middle-ranked Go players seek the Dao. Chess can nurture one's state of mind, absorb one's soul, and approach the Dao of chess. High-ranked Go players create the Dao, using momentum to set up the Go board, the mental state guiding the Go board. The Go board is the world. Placing a Go stone can mess up the hearts of the people. This Yifeng is already a high-ranked Go player. Unfortunately, these 10 Go masters are too weak. He lacks a true opponent, Yang Chuan said with certainty. Ah, we lost again, one of the Go masters lamented. I lost, too. I lost this Go game as well. The 10 Go masters admitted defeat at the same time. How did the 10 of them lose at the same time? Hua Guang exclaimed in shock. That's because Yifeng controlled the entire Go board. Not only could his Go skills match the 10, but he could also accurately calculate the time, Yang Chuan said with a bright light in his eyes. To think that the Grand Tutor Yifeng's Go skills are so strong, Liu Jin exclaimed. Just at this moment, a household servant called out, "All right, this game is over. Rest for 2 hours. After 2 hours, 10 more people can play against my manor lord." All right. The group of Go players answered. Is there a reason for this Go game? Yang Chuan asked the household servant who led the way. The lord wants to play against my manor lord. That household servant exclaimed. That's right, Yang Chuan said with a smile. According to our rules, solving 10 Go puzzles is enough, the household servant said. If that's the case, then let's arrange the 10 Go puzzles in a row, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Ah, Lord, our endgame is extremely difficult. Many people can only solve one endgame in a day, the household servant said strangely. It doesn't matter. Just set it down. Yang Chuan shook his head. Oh, okay. The household servant looked at Yang Chuan strangely. Just as the 10 people finished playing chess, the household servant quickly called out to the other household servant and quickly arranged 10 endgame positions according to the chess manual. What are you doing? Endgame? Another newcomer? The group of Go players looked at the scene in surprise. The 10 household servant each stood on a chessboard, while Yang Chuan stood on one side and watched. Young man? Who is this young man? What a joke. He can solve 10 Go puzzles at the same time. Where did this hothead come from? Liu Jin and Hua Guang both looked worried. However, Yang Chuan was not worried at all. He looked at the Go puzzles and smiled. He casually grabbed a handful of black Go stones from the Go bowl and quickly placed them on a chessboard. Yang Chuan quickly placed a Go stone on the second chessboard. The third chessboard, the fourth chessboard, like flowing water, in the blink of an eye, the Go stones were placed on all 10 Go puzzles. The group of Go players looked at Yang Chuan in astonishment. Is this a joke? Is he playing blindly? Does he have enough time to see the Go puzzles? Moreover, there are 10 of them. I've played this Go puzzle before. The first Go stone was placed like this. This young man is really lucky. Everyone was discussing. No one was optimistic about Yang Chuan's chances. Liu Jin and Hua Guang stared at the Go players as if warning them not to talk nonsense. However, the Go players did not care at all and continued criticizing them. Everyone, gentlemen should watch the game without speaking, Yang Chuan said with a smile. The Go players' faces froze. Chapter 164. Naiwabo Studio playing Yifeng. Everyone, gentlemen should not speak while watching Go, Yang Chuan said with a smile. The expressions of the Go players froze. Everyone knew that one should not speak while watching Go. However, at this moment, everyone looked down on Yang Chuan's Go play. Hence, they spoke up. However, Yang Chuan made it sound like they were not gentlemen but petty people. Everyone's faces immediately turned red. Some of them even glared at Yang Chuan angrily. The 10 household servant did not expect Yang Chuan to play so quickly. After being stunned for a moment, he started playing according to the Go record. Smack, smack, smack. 10 white Go stones were played. Yang Chuan grabbed another handful of black Go stones from the Go bowl. Smack, smack, smack. Yang Chuan was no slower than the household servant. His movements were like flowing water, and in the blink of an eye, he played another 10 Go stones. Ah! The Go players all revealed stunned expressions. This person is really blind, one of the Go players said in disdain. However, before he could finish his sentence, he stopped himself. This was because he was the only one speaking. The others all remembered Yang Chuan's words, watch Go without speaking. For the sake of maintaining their poise, no one spoke. After that Go player's face froze, he looked at the Go board again. His expression remained angry. He waited for Yang Chuan to be defeated before slowly scolding him. Clack, 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 clack. As the household servant played his Go stones, he gaped in shock. This was because Yang Chuan played his Go stones even faster than they did. Clack, 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 clack. As Go stones continued to be played, the Go masters turned increasingly serious. What's wrong? Is he playing blindly? Is he really solving the Go? The Go players looked at the Go board in disbelief. Yang Chuan placed another piece. The first game is over. It's been solved. A Go master exclaimed in surprise. The second game has also been solved. The same goes for the third round. When Yang Chuan placed his last piece, all the Go masters looked at Yang Chuan, but they were already silent. All right, let's clean up the mess, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Good, the Lord is good at chess. The villa master will be very happy to know that he has another good opponent. The household servant who was leading the way smiled. Retreat. The household servant, who was leading the way, said to the people who were dealing with the aftermath. Yes. Everyone quickly retreated. The group of Go players also came to their senses at this moment. Who is this person? Everyone began to inquire. Yang Chuan didn't chat much with the crowd. Instead, he found a chessboard and sat down. He waited for the second round to begin. The others discussed animatedly, and more or less knew Yang Chuan's identity. The Emperor's equal. He is the Emperor's equal. Why is the Emperor's equal so young? The Emperor's equal is good at chess. With their strength recognized, the crowd no longer dared to act arrogantly in front of Yang Chuan. Yang Chuan sat at a Go board, and everyone thought that it was natural for him to sit there. After waiting for a while. All right, it's about time. The second round will begin. As usual, the villa master will allow everyone to place their pieces first. A household servant called out. Place my pieces first. Heh. Yang Chuan smiled. He picked up a black piece. He placed his hand on the Tianyuan position. At the center of the Go board, when the piece was placed on the Tianyuan position, it was as if a breeze was blowing from the Go pieces, blowing away the dust. Chapter 165. At this moment, Yang Chuan had become the center of attention. Aside from the 9 players, almost all eyes were on Yang Chuan's Go board. Divine Prime? How can it be Divine Prime? Someone exclaimed. Does he know how to play Go? His first move is Divine Prime? No one has ever dared to play like that before. What a waste. This move is completely useless. Everyone shook their heads. Lord, are you sure? Have you thought carefully about your first move? Why don't you rearrange it? The household servant advised kindly from earlier. Whoever placed the first move had the advantage. However, this advantage should not be wasted like that. There's no need. When I play Go, my first move has always been Divine Prime, Yang Chuan said, shaking his head. Ah! Everyone was confused. Always Divine Prime? What a joke. Who would play Go like that? All right. That kind household servant smiled bitterly. He waved his hand, and the 10 household servant quickly recorded the moves and rushed to the middle of the valley. In the middle of the valley a waterfall poured into the valley, revealing a large lake below. A gentle breeze blew, bringing with it a pleasant fishy smell. Flowers grew all around, and many palaces stood tall. Birds sang and flowers bloomed, making this place look like a paradise on earth. Beside the lake stood a group of servants who were waiting on them. In the middle of a huge pavilion, there were 10 chessboards. The 10 household servants were setting up the go boards. There was a small pier by the lake. At this moment, a white-robed old man sat on the pier. The old man had white hair, white brows, and an aged face. He held a fishing rod in his hand. He sat there quietly, as if he was in an ink painting. A middle-aged man stood behind the old man as he quietly fished. "Grandfather, how are the go skills of those 10 go masters?" The middle-aged man asked with a smile. The old man's expression did not change. He said indifferently, "Their go skills are passable. The 3rd and 6th players improved their go skills to a certain extent. Grandpa's chess skills have already reached the pinnacle of perfection. In the entire world, no one can match him." These 10 people claim to be chess masters, but even when the 10 of them play together, they are still no match for Grandpa. Furthermore, they don't know that Grandpa is actually playing blind chess. He didn't even look at the chessboard. He was fishing and playing at the same time. The middle-aged man sighed. "Invincible? That might not be the case. It's just that our horizons are limited. Who can guarantee that there are no chess experts among the cultivators? They've lived for countless years, and their skill in chess might not be inferior to mine." A look of longing and a sigh flashed across the old man's eyes. "No, I believe that even those cultivators are no match for Grandpa," the middle-aged man said stubbornly. The old man smiled and continued fishing. "Manor Lord, the first round is 4-4. A household servant reported. 43. The old man said without turning his head. The household servant behind him, who was in charge of the chessboard, quickly placed a piece according to the old man's instructions. "Second round, tie 4, tie 4. Another household servant called out. 44. The old man said indifferently as he fished. "Third round. Fourth round." Every time a piece was placed, the old man would not even look at the chessboard. He would quickly announce the placement of a white piece. "10th round, Tianyuan." The last household servant reported. "Oh." The old man was slightly taken aback. A household servant who had followed him immediately reported, "Manor Lord, the person in the 10th round has an extremely special identity. He is. I don't care who he is. Did he solve the Go game?" The white-robed old man asked indifferently. "He solved it. Furthermore, he solved all 10 games in a short period of time," the household servant said respectfully. Chapter 166. Solving all 10 games at the same time? Ha 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 ha. Good. This old man has finally found a decent one, the white-clad old man said with a smile. "Yes. For the 10th game, I will play 3-5. The old man said after taking a deep breath without turning his head. Yes. The placement of go stones in the middle of the valley quickly spread to the outer valley. In the outer valley, the top 10 Go players were quickly playing. Smack, smack, smack. The Go stones were quickly placed. In the blink of an eye, it was noon. At this moment, most of the spectating Go players gathered around Yang Chuan. They could see the general trend of the other Go boards. However, Yang Chuan's Go board confused them. Are Master Yi and this young man playing Go? The two of them are going their own ways. How is this a game? That's right. This chess game is too scattered. No, this is a setup. The two of them are setting each other up. The game is too big. We can't understand it. Everyone watched quietly. In the distance, another group of household servants came to the middle of the valley. They quickly placed Go stones on the 10 Go boards. "Ah, I lost again. Sigh, I was too careless. This game is messed up again. What a pity." On the first 9 Go boards, the 9 Go masters threw in their Go stones and admitted defeat with regretful expressions. Hey! Everyone looked at Yang Chuan's table. According to the previous rules, all 10 games would be thrown in at the same time. Now, 9 games had been lost, and the last game was still going on. It was still going on. Everyone was flabbergasted by this strange scene. Then, they all gathered around. Yang Chuan smiled faintly and placed another go stone. Clack! He placed another go stone. The household servant quickly recorded it and ran to the middle of the valley. In the middle of the valley, the old man's fish float trembled. Clearly, a fish had taken the bait. However, the old man did not seem to notice it. "Manor Lord, all the first 9 games have been thrown in and they have admitted defeat," the household servant reported. "What about the 10th round? Where did the 10th round land?" the old man asked. "Up to 85%. The household servant reported. "Up to 85%. It's actually over 85%. The old man was slightly surprised. The household servant waited for the old man to announce his next move, but after waiting for a while, the old man did not speak. "Huh?" The household servant was surprised. "Grandpa?" the middle-aged man beside him asked in confusion. One had to know that his grandfather had never thought about playing chess for so long. The old man pondered for a while and remained motionless. Even the fish in the lake stole the bait and swam away happily. 43%. The old man finally confirmed. "Yes." The household servant quickly ran out. At this moment, in the outer valley, Yang Chuan stood up. "It's noon, we should go back," Yang Chuan said indifferently. "Yes." Liu Jin and Hua Guang answered. "Ah, Lord, you're not done playing chess." A household servant was dumbfounded and immediately shouted. He had never met someone who left in the middle of a game. How could he leave? The game was not over yet. Imperial tutor Yi Feng and I have already arranged the troops. Next, the 2 sides will fight. Every move won't be easy. I'll have my subordinates stay here. If there are new pieces, inform me as soon as possible. I'll make my move then, Yang Chuan said indifferently. "What? How is that possible? You're bragging. Master Yi still needs to think when playing chess," the Go Masters said in disbelief. At this moment, a household servant quickly ran over from the middle of the valley. 43. "Manor Lord, make your move." 43%. The household servant said hurriedly. "Oh." 43. Yang Chuan looked at the chessboard. After thinking for a while, Yang Chuan made another move. After leaving behind 4 members of the embroidered uniform army, Yang Chuan led Hua Guang and Liu Jin out of the valley. "Let's go. Giddy up." Yang Chuan led the embroidered uniform army away, leaving behind the dumbfounded Go Masters. What's going on? The Go Masters were petrified. In the middle of the valley, Grand Tutor Yi Feng, who was holding the fishing rod, frowned at this moment. 46. 46. The old man pondered. Chapter 167. 3 days later, in Beijing, in a tea house, there were 2 floors. The upper floor had a cubicle and the lower floor had a hall. Sitting in the cubicle, one could not only hear the people downstairs, but also see the beautiful scenery of the lake through the window. Crown Prince Yang Wudi, dressed in an ordinary black robe, sat on the 2nd floor, drinking tea. He listened to the noise below. "Wang Wu, what's the latest news?" someone downstairs asked. A man in a scholar's robe was sitting in the middle, eating a bun. Everyone was surrounding him. Now, there were only 2 things happening right now. First, all the medical centers in Yangjin were full. I don't know what's going on, but a lot of people in Beijing fell sick all of a sudden. Wang Wu sighed as he ate a bun. "Yeah, my second uncle was still fine 2 months ago. He didn't have any trouble carrying a bag of rice. He had never been sick before. Now, he suddenly collapsed." One of them made an excuse. "I don't know if it's some kind of illness, but there are quite a lot of patients. There are a lot of people lining up outside each clinic. My third uncle is the doctor of Baoji Hall. He said that he couldn't find the cause of this illness. It's a strange illness." Everyone kept talking. "There's one more thing. The emperor's equal has returned," Wang Wu said after some thought. "Emperor equal to emperor?" Crown Prince Yang Wudi, who was upstairs, immediately became interested. "Emperor equal to the emperor? Who didn't know?" That day, I was at the city gate when Hu Guang broke through the city gate with a single spear strike. 3,000 embroidered Yi army soldiers, how impressive. Yeah, I saw it too. It's nothing. What kind of news is this? Everyone in the city knows. Everyone was discussing, but Wang Wu gently shook his head. No, that's not what I want to talk about. The Emperor's equal has gone to the Star Luo Mountain Villa. Do you guys know? Wang Wu said proudly. Oh! Everyone was slightly stunned. Everyone knows about Grand Preceptor Yi Feng's rules. Even the Yang Emperor can't meet him. Grand Preceptor is nearing the end of his life. He doesn't care about power. In his old age, he only wants to play chess and do what he loves the most. Therefore, Xingluo Mountain Villa invited all the top Go players in the world, and countless national Go players came because of its reputation. Wang Wu said. Nonsense, Wang Wu, get to the point. One of them said impatiently. The Emperor's equal has gone, and he is playing chess with Grand Preceptor Yi Feng across the mountain. Wang Wu said. Ah, that's not right. Wang Wu, you're bragging. I know the rules of the Star Luo Mountain Villa. How many days had it been? The Emperor's equal hasn't solved all the games yet, right? How could he play against the Grand Preceptor? Someone asked in disbelief. TCH. You don't believe me? The Emperor's equal really played against the Grand Preceptor. My third brother is a household servant there. You don't know how incredible the Emperor's equal is. He solved all 10 Go puzzles at the same time. In an instant, he solved them all. Wang Wu said excitedly. Ah, that can't be, right? Of course, it's true. My third brother was in charge of playing according to the Go manual. However, he wasn't as fast as the Emperor's equal. The Emperor's equal didn't even need to look. Clack, clack, clack. He solved all the Go puzzles. If I had known, I would have gone to look as well. Wang Wu said excitedly. Then, what happened after that? Everyone's interest was piqued. After that, of course, he played against the Grand Preceptor. Originally, there were 10 people playing against the Grand Preceptor. However, the first 9 were Go masters. They couldn't even withstand a single blow and lost in the blink of an eye. Only the Emperor's equal is still playing. He never stopped. Even today, he still hasn't finished that game. Wang Wu sighed. Chapter 168. Bullshit. No one can compare to the Grand Tutor's Go skills. He won in 2 hours. How could the Emperor equal King play for 3 days and 3 nights? Someone said in disbelief. Don't doubt it. The Emperor equal King is awesome. He returned at noon that day, saying that the Grand Tutor needs to think before he plays. He will send someone to inform him when he has thought of a move. Then, he will make his move and have someone send the message back, Wang Wu said proudly. Ah! Wouldn't that be like the Emperor equal King sitting at home and the Grand Tutor sitting in the valley, playing Go from a distance? Of course. Furthermore, the Emperor equal King's Go skills are clearly no weaker than the Grand Tutor's. It has been 3 days and 3 nights, and no one can determine a winner, Wang Wu said. Is that good? Someone exclaimed. Of course. I've also heard that none of the chess masters from the Star Luo Mountain Villa are playing chess anymore. They are waiting for the 2 of them to make their move every day. They are waiting impatiently. Every time the messenger comes to make his move, those chess masters don't even dare to breathe loudly. They are just watching, Wang Wu said. Really? Of course. Do you know that Go master from Yangjing? Wang Wu said proudly. Of course, I do. That Go master only acknowledges the Grand Tutor. He does not acknowledge anyone else. However, after watching for 2 days, he no longer dares to watch. He only dares to watch after resting for a day, Wang Wu said. Ah! What do you mean? Is he tired? Of course, he is not tired. He said that the Go game is too big, and he feels dizzy from watching it. He can't hold on anymore, Wang Wu said proudly, as if he was standing beside the Go game himself. Is that good? Of course. This Go game stunned all those Go masters. How can he not be good? Who knows how long this Go game will last? Wang Wu said confidently. The Emperor equal King is really good. While the commoners discussed the situation downstairs, Crown Prince Yang Wudi frowned upstairs. Go and ask what Uncle Wang has been doing these days, Yang Wudi said to a subordinate behind him. Yes. The subordinate quickly went downstairs and left the restaurant. After a while, he came back. Once again, he came to Yang Wudi's private room. Reporting to the Crown Prince, I have asked the people in the city. It is said that the Emperor Equal leaves the city early every day and comes back in the evening. Moreover, the gate he goes through is different every day. No one knows what the Emperor Equal is doing, the subordinate said. Oh, you didn't play chess? Yang Wudi asked doubtfully. Yes, it's just as Wang Wu said. The Emperor's pieces are constantly being sent to the Star Luo Villa, so you're saying that Uncle Wang is playing chess while going out to do something? Yang Wudi asked in confusion. It should be, the subordinate said respectfully. Inform me when Uncle Wang returns tonight. I'll go see Uncle Wang. Yang Wudi thought for a while and said. Yes. The subordinate immediately replied. Go. In the south of Yangjing, Yang Chuan led 100 members of the embroidered uniform army and galloped. Following a mountain path, the Fergana horses climbed to the top of the mountain with difficulty. Stop. Yang Chuan pulled the reins. The 100 Fergana horses all stopped. Sitting on the horse, Yang Chuan looked at the surrounding mountains and rivers. Gradually, he looked at the bustling Yangjing in the distance. Lord, what are we looking for these days? Liu Jin didn't understand. Yang Chuan looked at Yangjing and smiled. I'm looking at the surrounding terrain. Yangjing might be our headquarters in the future. The surrounding mountains are extremely important. I have to know what to do. Chapter 169. What about the surroundings of Yang capital? Liu Jin asked curiously. Overall, it's not bad. Unfortunately, there are too few dragon veins. There are only 4 of them. When I establish my country, these dragon veins will definitely not be enough. I still need to find someone to bring over 100 dragon veins for the capital to form a 100 dragon worshipping pattern. Only then can we suppress the great Yang dynasty and leave a legacy for 10,000 years. Yang Chuan said. Yes. Liu Jin might not understand, but that didn't stop her from worshipping him. Da. 2 horses galloped over from afar. Dust flew everywhere as they passed. Oh! Yi Feng made another move. Yang Chuan's eyes lit up. Set up the chessboard. Liu Jin ordered the 2 embroidered uniform soldiers. Yes. The 2 embroidered uniform soldiers quickly took down the chessboard on their backs and placed the chess pieces in order. They placed the chess pieces on a large rock. Yang Chuan got off his horse. The 2 horses also approached from afar. Lord, the Grand Tutor has made a move. 2 to 2. The embroidered uniform soldiers hurried over and said. 2 to 2. Oh! Yang Chuan narrowed his eyes. Liu Jin quickly placed a white chess piece on the 2 to 2 position. Yang Chuan sat on the large rock and stared at the chessboard as he pondered. No one dared to disturb him. About half an hour later. Good move. 2 to 2. You finally can't hold it in anymore? Yang Chuan said with a smile. As he spoke, Yang Chuan took out a black chess piece and placed it on a hole on the chessboard. Ping 44, eat your 3 pieces first. Yang Chuan said with a smile. After he placed the chess piece, 3 white pieces were eaten. Go, Ping 44, Yang Chuan said to the embroidered uniform soldiers who were rushing over. Yes. The 2 quickly rode their horses away. Xingluo Mountain Villa, Outer Valley. A chessboard was placed in the middle. A group of Go masters sat cross-legged in the surroundings, all of them racking their brains for the Go puzzles on the Go boards. Meng Rongrong, Chang Qing, and the other 5 had also arrived at the valley and were quietly staring at the chessboard. Meng Rongrong was mesmerized. Chang Qing and the other 4 Julu Academy students frowned as they stared at the chessboard. Young mistress, this chess game, their chess skills. Chang Qing smiled bitterly. What do you think? Meng Rongrong asked. Chang Qing smiled bitterly, shook his head and said, it's me. I underestimated the people of the mortal world. In this game of chess, whether it's the black or white pieces, I'm no match for them. That's right. Even among the students of the academy, his chess skills are among the best. Meng Rongrong said in a strange tone. Go. The sound of a horse came from outside the valley. It's coming, it's coming. The group of Go masters immediately got up from the ground and looked at the entrance of the valley with sparkling eyes. Because of this game of Go, the two embroidered uniform soldiers didn't need to dismount from their horses outside the valley. They rode directly into the valley. The Lord has placed a piece. Level 44. One of the embroidered uniform soldiers shouted from his horse. Level 44. The embroidered uniform soldier beside the chessboard quickly placed a black piece. Clap. When the black piece was placed, everyone stared at the chessboard. More and more pieces were placed, and the chessboard became deeper and deeper. Some of the entranced players stared at the chessboard as if they were possessed. Looking at the chessboard, it was as if they were looking at a whirlpool that sucked in the minds of the Go masters. One of the Go masters, Bai Mai, even had his face flushed red. He stared at the chessboard as if he was sucked into it. Level 44, take 3 pieces first. The embroidered uniform soldier took the white piece that was swallowed by the black piece. PFFF. Bai Mai suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. He fell down. Master Bai, what's wrong? The surrounding Go players were flustered. Bai Mai withered and smiled bitterly. This old man actually vomited blood because of watching a game of Go. This game of Go is no ordinary game. I'm not even qualified to watch it. Chapter 170. The Dugu Sword Emperor's injury. The next day, the sky was still dark. North of Yangjing City. Higher. Yang Chuan led a group of people to the peak of a mountain. Whoa. He pulled the reins, and everyone stopped. There was another person beside Yang Chuan this time. Crown Prince Yang Wudi, Hu Guang and Liu Jin reined in their horses, leaving Yang Chuan and Yang Wudi to look at Yangjing City in the distance. Uncle Wang's Go skills are indeed shocking. Xingluo Mountain Villa sent news that 3 Go masters vomited blood after watching the game. Yang Wudi sighed. They forcefully comprehended the game when their cultivation wasn't high enough. Naturally, their minds were damaged. Moreover, their minds were focused on Yi Feng's white pieces. When my black pieces killed, they naturally felt it. The impact of my Go stones drained him mentally and physically. Yang Chuan said indifferently. I already witnessed Uncle Wang's Go skills last night. I wonder why Uncle Wang called me here this morning? Yang Wudi asked. I'll show you something later, Yang Chuan said seriously. Something? What do you mean? Yang Wudi didn't understand. It's going to be dawn soon. You'll know soon. Yang Chuan shook his head and didn't say anything. All right. Yang Wudi nodded helplessly. Let me ask you. When I took down the representatives of the 4 countries that day, other than Changqing and the others in the sky, were you and the Dugu Sword Emperor also there? Yang Chuan asked. How did Uncle Wang know? Yang Wudi was slightly surprised. Could it be Yang Chuan who found out? But at that time, he didn't show himself, so how could he have found out? Yang Chuan smiled and said, as long as it's the Dugu Sword Emperor. What does Uncle Wang mean? What's the Dugu Sword Emperor doing in Beijing? Yang Chuan asked. This. Yang Wudi frowned and didn't know if he should say it. That day in the Feng Shui formation, the Dugu Sword Emperor was chasing after a Feng Shui master with a sword. At that time, he shouted poisoner. The poisoner didn't die, so the poisoner should be in Yangjing, right? Yang Chuan asked. How did you know? Yang Wudi asked in surprise. This poisoner is a scourge, Yang Chuan said with a gloomy expression. Uncle Wang, how did you know? Master has been looking for poisoner for the past few days, but he still couldn't find him. Uncle Wang, do you know where the poisoner is? Yang Wudi asked seriously. I'm not sure. Yang Chuan shook his head. Sigh. Yang Wudi sighed. At that moment, the first rays of the morning sun appeared in the east and shone in all directions. The sun is out, Yang Wudi said. Look at Yangjing, Yang Chuan shouted. Yang Wudi looked in the direction of Yangjing curiously. Early in the morning, Yangjing was shrouded in a faint mist. It was like a fairyland. The sunlight quickly dispelled the darkness and shone through the mist in the city. Under the sunlight, a faint green light flashed in the mist. The green light was hazy, but it only appeared for a short time. In just a few breaths, the green light disappeared. That is. Yang Wudi was confused. Did you see it? The green light that shrouded Yang Jing, Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. Yes, I saw it. What was that? I've never seen it before. Yang Wudi was confused. That is the poison light, Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. Poison light? Yang Wudi didn't understand. Are there more and more sick people in Yangjing recently? Yang Chuan asked. Yes, I've heard about it. All the medical centers are full of people now. No one knows what's going on. Yang Wudi immediately looked at Yang Chuan. Chapter 171. This is a feng shui array. Someone set up this feng shui array in Yangjin and is spreading poison throughout the city, Yang Chuan said. The entire city? Yes, the entire city. Feng shui poison is different from normal poisons. Some feng shui poisons are alive. This poison is still growing. Once it matures, it will empty the entire city, Yang Chuan said. Empty the entire city? What? What do you mean? Yang Wudi seemed to have guessed something. 2 million people in Yangjin will be poisoned to death in one night. No one will be left alive, Yang Chuan said. Ah! Yang Wudi was shocked. I think you have already guessed it. This should be the work of the poisoner, Yang Chuan said coldly. Why would he do that? Yang Wudi asked with an ugly expression. I think the poisoner must be severely injured. He wants to poison everyone in Yangjin to death and extract millions of souls to heal his wound. Heal his wounds? I don't understand. But Uncle Wang, these are 2 million lives we are talking about. They are all citizens of Yangjin. Since you have already guessed it, you should have a solution, right? Yang Wudi said anxiously. There is a solution, but I need the cooperation of the Dugu Sword Emperor. Take me to the Dugu Sword Emperor. Tell him that I have a way to find the poisoner, Yang Chuan said. Before Yang Wudi could say anything, suddenly, a voice came from the sky. You have a way to find the poisoner. The voice was filled with urgency. Ka. The Imperial Secret Army quickly narked their bows and aimed at the sky. Yang Chuan waved his hand and stopped the archers. The Dugu Sword Emperor slowly descended from the sky with a long sword on his back. Master, Yang Wudi said in surprise. Dugu Sword Emperor, are you following us? Yang Chuan asked coldly. My disciple left before dawn, so of course I had to follow him. However, what did you mean by that? Can you find poisoner? The Dugu Sword Emperor asked anxiously. Yang Chuan coldly stared at the Dugu Sword Emperor. After a moment of silence, he nodded. How do we find him? The Dugu Sword Emperor asked in delight. Yang Chuan dismounted. Everyone followed suit and dismounted. Liu Jin, boil the tea, Yang Chuan said. Yes. Liu Jin replied immediately. He took out the spatial scroll, took out the table and chairs, and quickly boiled some tea with a small stove. Hu Guang ordered the soldiers to retreat to the side. Since you're here, it saves me the trouble of looking for you. Have a seat, Yang Chuan said. Millimeter. The Dugu Sword Emperor nodded. Yang Wudi also sat down. Soon, Liu Jin finished boiling the tea and poured tea for the three of them. I want to know why you want to kill poisoner, Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. Millimeter? Why are you asking this? The Dugu Sword Emperor frowned. If it was anyone else, I would be too lazy to ask. However, this is poisoner. That day, he was together with Shinku and Kuroha, so they were clearly on the same side. Rumor has it that Shinku and Kuroha was one of the murderers of my parents. How would I know if poisoner was one of them? I might have a grudge against him, but I have my own principles. Grudges must be taken by myself. Thus, I need to get to the bottom of this. At the very least, you need to convince me to give him to you, Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. Are you confident that you can find poisoner? The Dugu Sword Emperor asked in surprise. Yang Chuan's tone was full of certainty. The Dugu Sword Emperor couldn't help but be cautious. It's up to you, Yang Chuan said with a smile as he sipped his tea. Fine. There's nothing to hide, the Dugu Sword Emperor said with a bitter smile. I'd like to hear the details. Yang Chuan nodded. 200 years ago, I traveled the world with my sword, searching for experts to hone my swordsmanship. One time, I killed a ferocious demon. However, I almost died in that battle. I was severely injured and flew away from the scene. In the end, I fainted in a valley, the Dugu Sword Emperor recalled. That was the worst time in my life. There were many demonic beasts in the forest. If it wasn't for her, I might have died in their stomachs. Huh? Yang Chuan asked. She was the daughter of the gate master of Chiba Gate. She found me and took care of me. I still remember that it was a valley full of lilies. When I woke up, the first thing she asked me was, "Are you hungry?" The Dugu Sword Emperor recalled with a smile. During the half year that I was recovering from my injuries, she came to take care of me every day. Although I knew her intentions, I was too competitive at that time. After I recovered, I took my sword and left. I wanted to continue challenging experts from all over the world, to hone my swordsmanship. You left just like that. What happened to her? Yang Wudi was puzzled. I told her that the lilies would accompany her on my behalf. Seeing the lilies would be like seeing me. I also promised that I would visit her once every 5 years, the Dugu Sword Emperor said with a shaky voice. He clenched his fists as if he was filled with regret. What happened after that? After that, I went to visit her as promised. Every 5 years, I would visit her once. She was also very silly. She kept waiting for me. She kept waiting for me. Until 20 years ago, the Dugu Sword Emperor trembled. His eyes were bloodshot and slightly moist. What happened 20 years ago? 20 years ago, I was supposed to visit her. However, because of a long-awaited battle, I delayed it for half a year. Half a year later, when I arrived at Chiba Gate again, the Dugu Sword Emperor couldn't control his emotions. Tears flowed down his cheeks. What happened to Chiba Gate? The entire Thousand Leaves sect was massacred, and not a single one was spared. As for her, she was nailed to the gates of the Thousand Leaves sect. Even before she died, she was still holding onto a bouquet of lilies. The Dugu Sword Emperor crushed the teacup in his hand. His face was filled with pain. Tears fell from his eyes. She didn't know how to cherish things when she was alive. Only after she died did she realize how precious things were. Yang Chuan sighed. I only found out later that during the 6 months that I was late, she stood at the mountain gate every day. She looked at the lilies and waited for me. On the day of Chiba Gate's destruction, she was holding onto the lilies and waiting for me. Her eyes were filled with anticipation and her heart was filled with sorrow. But if I didn't participate in that battle, this wouldn't have happened. The Dugu Sword Emperor trembled. He was sobbing uncontrollably. Yang Chuan and Yang Wudi were both silent. Seeing the arrogant Dugu Zhenwang shedding tears at this moment, the two of them didn't look down on him at all. They only felt sympathy for him. It was Poisoner? Yang Wudi asked with hatred. Yes. The leader of the group that destroyed Chiba Gate was Poisoner. 10 years later, I killed everyone except for Poisoner. This enmity is absolutely irreconcilable, the Dugu Sword Emperor roared. You chased after Poisoner for 10 years. Yes. I will definitely take revenge. If you can help me find him, I will do my best to help you with one thing, the Dugu Sword Emperor said. All right. Poisoner, I will help you find him. I don't need to do anything else. You just need to teach my nephew well. You just need to guide him with all your heart, Yang Chuan said. Wang. Uncle Wang? Yang Wudi looked at Yang Chuan in surprise. All right. I will let Wudi inherit the Dugu family's secret. The Dugu Sword Emperor nodded. Chapter 172. If you can't find Poisoner, there's only one possibility. He's somewhere underground in Yangjing, and he's using Earth Qi to conceal his presence, Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. That's right. The Dugu Sword Emperor calmed himself down and nodded. He wanted to poison the entire city, so he set up a feng shui formation. When he released the poison, he also exposed a flaw. Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. What are you going to do? Set up the formation. Help me set up another formation. Using formation against formation, not only can we clear out the poison in the entire city, we can also quickly find his location. Yang Chuan said solemnly. I don't know feng shui formation. The Dugu Sword Emperor shook his head. I can do it. Yang Chuan said with a smile. Oh. All right, tell me what to do. The Dugu Sword Emperor nodded. Since you're a swordsman, your swordsmanship must be unique. There are 4 dragon veins around Yang Jin and we're standing on the tip of one of them. Now, carve this mountain into the shape of a dragon's head. The dragon's head is facing Yang Jin and roaring, Yang Chuan said. Under our feet. The Dugu Sword Emperor frowned as he looked at Yang Chuan. Hehe, I know what you're thinking. Don't worry, I didn't know you were coming. It's just a coincidence that I brought Yang Wudi here to overlook Beijing. Yang Chuan shook his head. Millimeter. The Dugu Sword Emperor was relieved. Let's go down the mountain first. You can observe this stone mountain and then start carving, Yang Chuan said. Liu Jin quickly tidied everything up. Go. The group of people quickly rode their horses down the mountain. In the blink of an eye, they were already several miles away. At another small hill, the group stopped. They looked into the distance together. The Dugu Sword Emperor stared at the entire mountain and pondered for a moment before narrowing his eyes. Sheeing. As soon as the treasured sword appeared, a sword light immediately cut off a corner of the mountain. Sheeing. 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 A series of sounds of swords clashing could be heard as beams of sword light shot towards the mountain peak. Rumble. A large amount of crushed stones flew from the mountaintop, and smoke and dust soared into the sky. Thick dust billowed and covered the mountain peak in the blink of an eye. Rumble. The Dugu Sword Emperor didn't stop for even a moment as he slashed madly. Lord, the Dugu Sword Emperor acted so quickly. Could he have made a mistake? Liu Jin asked worriedly. Fast. For a sword cultivator, this speed is slow. He won't make a mistake. At his current level, the sword and him have already become one. Yang Chuan shook his head. Yes. Liu Jin nodded. Boom. After a final loud bang, the rumbling stopped abruptly. Who? The Dugu Sword Emperor waved his hand, and a gust of wind blew past. In the blink of an eye, all the dust in the area was blown away. Hua! Yang Wudi exclaimed in surprise. The original mountain peak disappeared and was replaced by a giant dragon head. The dragon head was as tall as a mountain. Its eyes were wide open as it roared majestically towards Yang Jing. So powerful! Liu Jin exclaimed. Let's go. Higher. The group returned to the top of the dragon head. Is it done? The Dugu Sword Emperor flew over and asked. Yang Chuan ignored him. Instead, he took out the Jade Emperor's sword and stabbed it into the dragon head's forehead. Sheeing. The dragon head's forehead was pierced. After pulling out the Jade Emperor's sword, Yang Chuan cut his finger and dripped some blood into the wound. Buzz. The dragon head mountain suddenly trembled slightly. What are you doing? The Dugu Sword Emperor was puzzled. Blood guide. I am not a feng shui master, so I need to use my blood as a guide to activate the feng shui array, Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. Chapter 173. Oh. The Dugu Sword Emperor still didn't understand. Hua Guang, find a rock that's about 10 feet in size from the rocks that were cut off. Yes. Soon, a large rock was brought to him. Looking at the rock, Yang Chuan flipped the Jade Emperor sword in his hand. TSK 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 TSK. The Jade Emperor sword flipped, and the rock was cut into the shape of a dragon's head. It looked exactly the same as the dragon's head that the Dugu Sword Emperor had cut out. Good swordsmanship. The Dugu Sword Emperor exclaimed. Yang Chuan pressed his finger on the dragon's forehead, and fresh blood stained the dragon's forehead. Send this dragon's head to the Yangjing drill ground. Guard it, and don't let anyone touch it. Yang Chuan said to the 10 embroidered uniform army soldiers. Yes. The 10 embroidered uniform army soldiers carefully carried the dragon's head away. All right, the first dragon's head is done. There are 3 more to go. Dugu Sword Emperor, let's go, Yang Chuan said. All right. The Dugu Sword Emperor nodded. Star Luo Mountain Villa. In the valley. A white-robed old man, Grand Tutor Yi Feng, slept on the pier in a carefree manner. A few household servants were carefully waiting on him. Yi Feng's grandson was also waiting. Ah. Yi Feng yawned and woke up. Grandfather, you're awake. The middle-aged man immediately went forward. How long have I been sleeping? Yi Feng asked. 8 hours. The middle-aged man immediately replied. 8 hours. Heh, I'm getting old. Yi Feng smiled bitterly. Grandfather, breakfast is ready for you. Okay, I'll eat here. Yi Feng said. Yes. Soon, the household servants brought in a large amount of food. Yi Feng ate his breakfast and asked, did he make his move? Yes. Oh. Which step? Yi Feng's expression brightened. Grandpa, you eat first, then. Ha ha ha. Let's talk about it. His go stones are the best delicacies. Yi Feng laughed. It's Ping Baliu. Ping Baliu. Pressing on step by step. Yi Feng's face suddenly turned solemn, and the food on his chopsticks also stopped. Grandpa, you'd better not think about it. After dinner, let's go look at the chessboard. You can play against the chessboard, and soon you'll be able to beat him. No, blind chess it is. I have 1 foot in the grave, and it was not easy for me to meet my match. How can I let it go to waste? Ha ha ha. Yi Feng said happily. In the outer valley. Fewer and fewer people were watching the game. The group of Go Masters no longer had the energy to continue watching. The Go Masters could only smile bitterly. Vomiting blood from watching chess? What a joke. But that was the truth. Unless you didn't look at it seriously, as long as you used your heart to experience it, your mind would immediately sink into it until you collapsed. However, the Go Masters noticed that 1 woman and 5 men had been staring at the Go board all this time. It was Meng Rongrong, Changqing, and the other 4. At this moment, there were no new Go stones. The 6 sat in a corner. First young miss, I can't take it anymore. I'm getting dizzy from looking at the chessboard, one of them said with a bitter smile. This game is already far beyond your level. You'd better not watch it, Meng Rongrong said while shaking her head. Yes, that person said with a bitter smile. Changqing also showed a strange expression. He said, first young miss, I really did not expect Yi Feng and Yang Chuan to be so strong in Go. They are so strong that only the great scholars of the academy can compare to them. Indeed. These 2 have very high cultivations. They are extremely rare in the immortal cultivation world. Furthermore, Meng Rongrong said with a frown. Furthermore what? Changqing asked, feeling curious. Chapter 174. Yi Feng is playing blind chess, Meng Rongrong said solemnly. Blind chess? That's impossible, Changqing said in surprise. Blind chess meant that one didn't look at the chessboard and remembered every move. It was fine if one didn't make many moves, but now, Yang Chuan and Yi Feng had played hundreds of moves. It is indeed blind chess. When I left earlier, I went to investigate. Meng Rongrong shook her head. Huh. Everyone was speechless. How can there be such a monster among mortals? Changqing was speechless. It would be a pity not to recruit such a talent into the academy, Meng Rongrong suddenly said. Milady. His bone structure was extremely poor. Moreover, he was already 92 years old. He was already shriveled and old. Even if he was given enough resources, 10 times or 100 times more resources, he still wouldn't be able to transcend the tribulation. A single bolt of lightning would be enough to shatter him. It's useless, Changqing said. Useless? Not necessarily, as long as I want to. Meng Rongrong shook her head. Pills? Essence-boosting pills? But these pills are extremely precious. 1 essence-boosting pill can be exchanged for spirit stones and resources, enough to create 2 immortal state warriors. If we use them on him, will it? Changqing frowned. Waste. No, It won't. He's worth it. Meng Rongrong shook her head. Okay. The 5 people were envious. When this game is over, I'll go see him and try my best to recruit him into the Julu Academy, Meng Rongrong said in a low voice. Don't worry, milady. Yi Feng has been searching for immortality all his life. Now that milady has taken a liking to him, it's his fortune. He'll definitely be grateful to be able to cultivate in the academy. It's his honor. Changqing said affirmatively. Millimeter. Meng Rongrong nodded. Yang Jin, drill ground. The bloodstains from the massacre a few days ago had been cleaned up. According to Yang Chuan's request, the 100 embroidered Yi army soldiers placed the 4 dragon heads in 4 different positions on the drill ground. The dragon heads faced each other, glaring at each other. Yang Chuan, Yang Wudi, and the Dugu Sword Emperor stood in the center of the 4 dragon heads. This is, the Dugu Sword Emperor asked curiously. This is called the 4 Dragons Matrix. These 4 small dragon heads corresponded to the 4 dragon veins and were contaminated with the dragon aura of the 4 dragon veins. I activated the 4 dragon array, and the 4 dragon veins poured their dragon energy into Yangjing, forcing all the feng shui poison here. If the poison of feng shui can't spread, it will flow back to where the poisoner is. At that time, you can follow the poison of feng shui and find the poisoner, Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. Good. You may begin, the Dugu Sword Emperor said excitedly. Not now. Let me wait a few days. Yang Chuan shook his head. Wait a few days? Why? Why not now? The Dugu Sword Emperor didn't want to wait any longer. The sooner he killed the poisoner, the better. He couldn't wait to see the poisoner. 1 or 2 days at least, 5 or 6 days at most. You've already waited for so many days. A few more days won't matter, right? Yang Chuan refused. The Dugu Sword Emperor stared at Yang Chuan and fell silent. All right. The Dugu Sword Emperor had no choice but to nod since he had a request. After sending the Dugu Sword Emperor off, Liu Jin asked in confusion, Lord, why do we have to wait a few days? Yang Chuan looked up at the sky and took a deep breath. Soon, we'll be there soon. Liu Jin was at a loss. Go to the prince's mansion and move all the daily necessities here. I'll be staying in the drill ground for the next few days, Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. Yes. Liu Jin didn't understand, but she still obeyed. Chapter 175. 3 days later, in Xingluo Mountain Villa. The valley within the valley. Sitting on the pier, Yi Feng closed his eyes and pondered. His entire person was like a statue, not moving at all. Young master, Manor Lord has already been thinking for 4 hours. A servant said with an ugly expression. Have you figured out the background of the emperor? The middle-aged man in the Chinese robe asked. We have compiled all the information and sent someone to Yang Jin. We will report to you as soon as there is any new information, the household servant said respectfully. How can he play so well with Grandpa after running around every day? The middle-aged man asked. I don't know either. However, none of the Go masters in the outer valley dared to look into the game. All they do now is record the moves and replay the game. However, none of them have made more than 100 moves. This game will be passed down through the ages. It is normal for them to record it. The middle-aged man nodded. The Go masters don't dare to watch the game, but there is a girl who keeps an eye on it, the household servant said. A girl? Yes. I have sent someone to look into it. This girl is with Prime Minister Changqing. She descended from the sky with Changqing the other day. I think her name is Meng Rongrong. She is from the Gate of Heaven, the household servant said excitedly. Gate of Heaven? And she can fly. She is at least in the Qi state, the middle-aged man exclaimed. Yes. Remember, treat that girl well. Also, if she has any requests, inform me immediately, the middle-aged man said excitedly. Yes, I will remember. As the two of them whispered, not far away, Yi Feng, who was by the lake, slowly opened his eyes. Collapse, it's going to collapse. Yi Feng frowned. Grandpa. What collapse? The middle-aged man walked over immediately. This game of chess is about to collapse. If it's not me, then it's him. A general builds his success on the bones of 10,000. The great collapse this time, one side completely crushed the other side. I only have 3 positions that I can take right now. Which one? Yifeng pondered and said. Grandfather? Alright, let's bet everything on this. Yifeng said with a cold look in his eyes. Go up, 37. The household servant quickly placed his piece and went to the outer valley to report. Outer valley. All the Go Masters were waiting. His coming. His coming. The Go Masters quickly stood up and waited for that household servant. Go up, go up, go up, go up, go up. The household servant placed his piece. As soon as the white piece was placed, everyone involuntarily looked over. However, at this moment, the Go Masters did not dare to immerse themselves in the game. They only used their brushes to record it down. Only the white-clothed Meng Rongrong was staring at this move. Eldest miss. We don't even dare to look. What do you think of this move? Changqing smiled bitterly. In the end, Yifeng staked everything on a single throw and went all out. Yang Chuan is going to lose. Meng Rongrong sighed. Is that so? Joy appeared on everyone's faces. This torturous game of Go was finally going to end. Yang Chuan is already forced into a dead end. He has nowhere to go and nowhere to run. He will definitely lose. Meng Rongrong said with absolute certainty. The embroidered uniform army quickly recorded the moves and rode out of the valley. Yang capital, drill ground, a tent was set up. Yang Chuan sat at a table outside the tent. Liu Jin handed him a cup of tea. Yang Chuan sipped the tea as he looked at the Go board on the table. Lord, you have already played Go with Grand Tutor Yifeng for 6 to 7 days. This game has already spread throughout Yang capital. It has already become a legend. Liu Jin said with a smile. Chapter 176. A good story? It's a waste of talent for this person to be left in the mortal world. His ability to plan and plan has already reached perfection. Yang Chuan praised. Report. Old Grand Tutor, place your piece. Go 37. The embroidered uniform soldier shouted. Go 37. Liu Jin immediately placed her piece. Go 37. Stake it all on one throw? Ha 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 ha, I didn't expect. Yang Chuan suddenly laughed. Lord. Liu Jin didn't understand. His playing blind chess. Yang Chuan affirmed. Ah, blind chess. That's impossible. Liu Jin said in surprise. If he were looking at the chessboard, he wouldn't have made this move. I've set up many times, one game after another. This new game is a combination of 10 games. It's extremely secretive. If he's playing blind chess, he won't be able to see it. So, I'll make this move. I'll enter the 9-5, ascend the throne, soar to the 9 heavens, and sweep the world. Yang Chuan said excitedly. Pa. Yang Chuan let out a long sigh of relief as the chess piece was smashed into pieces. Lord, you've placed a dead end. Once this piece is placed, we'll lose 20 black pieces. Liu Jin didn't understand. Lose 20? Remove those 20, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Liu Jin quickly removed the black pieces. As soon as the 20 pieces were removed, the entire chessboard suddenly changed. Although Old Slave isn't proficient in chess, he could see that the entire chessboard changed when the 20 pieces were removed. Everything changed. Liu Jin said in surprise. This time, you'll go in person. After placing your piece, be polite. Just say that I'll be there in a few days to request an audience. Yang Chuan said. Yes, Old Slave understands. Liu Jin said respectfully. Liu Jin was filled with excitement. Under the guidance of the embroidered uniform army, she quickly walked out of the drill ground. Yang Chuan carefully looked at the chessboard again. Yifeng. If a chess game could reach such a level with the vision of a mortal, how powerful would you be if your vision was expanded to cover the entire world? We are looking forward to it. Yang Chuan sighed to himself. What Tilda? Suddenly, a baby's cry resounded throughout the entire drill ground. Demonic beast, there's a demonic beast. A member of the embroidered uniform army shouted. Protect the Lord. Hua Guang shouted from the other side. Ka. The 200 embroidered uniform army soldiers quickly drew their bows and aimed at the sky. In the sky, a huge bat flapped its wings and flew over. With a flap of its wings, a strong gust of wind blew. Bats. It was Liu Gang's third senior brother's bat god. A few days ago, it had been injured by the shooting sun arrows and had fled. Today, it had returned. Is it that bat? Shoot them down, Hua Guang shouted. Yes. The 200 members of the embroidered uniform army shouted. Bang! 200 arrows rained down from the sky. They were heading straight for the bat. You're courting death, Tilda. A sudden roar came from the void. Bang! Before the 200 arrows could reach the bat, they were blocked by a wall of air and fell back quickly. Someone's here? Hua Guang's expression changed. At this moment, Yang Chuan also saw the newcomer. A man in a green robe was standing on the back of the bat demon. The man in the green robe looked down with a cold expression. Where's my junior brother? The man in the green robe asked Yang Chuan. Ka. The bat cried anxiously. What? It's him. He's the one who killed my junior brother. The man in the green robe asked with a dark expression. The bat nodded immediately. Bastard, he was defeated by Immortal in the strength state. The man in the green robe said with a dark expression. You must be King Yi Mui's disciple, Yang Chuan suddenly said. Chapter 177. Tell me, how did you frame my junior brother? Where is he? The man in green robe shouted. Them. They are still alive. Go back and tell Emperor Jing that I will release them as soon as I return the 42 cities that King Mui promised me. Yang Chuan laughed. Ha. Kid, do you want to die? There is a limit to my patience. Let my junior brother out, or none of you will live. The man in green robe said coldly. None of you will live. You two sure are alike. Yang Chuan let out a weird smile. What? The man in green robe asked. You will only listen to me if you are beaten, Yang Chuan said lightly. What did you say? The man in green robe glared at Chen Fan. I command the universe. Yang Chuan forced out a drop of blood essence from his finger and drew something in the air. In the blink of an eye, he drew a strange symbol in the air. Roar. The golden dragon in Yang Chuan's body roared. It faced the symbol that was drawn with blood. Bang! The symbol dissipated. At the same time, in the four directions of Yang Jin, the four mountain-like dragon heads that were sculpted by the Dugu Sword Emperor suddenly trembled. A drop of blood flowed out from the forehead of the dragon heads. Roar tilde. Roar tilde. The four dragon heads suddenly let out a roar. The roar was so loud that the surrounding birds took to the sky in fear. The beasts on the ground ran away from the dragon head mountains. Boom! A stream of golden light rushed out from the mouths of the four dragon heads. The golden light rushed towards Yang Jin. As it approached Yang Jin, the golden light became dimmer and dimmer. Eventually, it turned into a gust of wind in the shape of a dragon. It was as if four transparent dragons were crashing into the four corners of Yang Jin. Yang Jin, Crown Prince Palace. The Dugu Sword Emperor was meditating with his eyes closed. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and rushed out of the palace. Four transparent dragons rushed into Yang Jin. Roar! As he howled, a storm swept across the entire Yang Jin. Hua. The strong wind suddenly blew the streets into a mess. Debris soared into the sky, smoke and dust rose everywhere. A large number of people were blown away by the strong wind. Ouch! What a strong wind! Where is this wind coming from? Why is there wind on such a sunny day? The surroundings were in a mess. Some of the small lakes even had huge waves. Oh my God! All the small boats in the lake were blown over. The wind swept across the entire Yang Jin. He went straight to the Yangjing drill ground. What's going on? The azure-robed man's expression changed. It was like a gust of wind coming from all directions, rushing towards him. Rumble. On the drill ground, the four small dragon heads trembled. As they trembled, The area around the 4 dragon heads suddenly turned green. It became greener and greener. The fierce wind was blowing the feng shui poison in the city, and the billowing toxic gas was gathering, becoming thicker and thicker. The green-robed man who was flying above the 4 dragon matrix was the first to bear the brunt of the attack. In the blink of an eye, he was enveloped by the rolling green gas along with the bat. Ah! Despicable bastard! It's the toxic gas! The green-robed man shouted in horror. Boom! A man and a bat fell from the sky. They fell to the ground. Boom! A large number of stone slabs were smashed. The wind came and went quickly. It disappeared in the blink of an eye, as if everything that had happened was just a dream. That's strange. Where's the wind? Was I dreaming just now? The wind is gone. The people in the city looked at the sky in confusion. Only the large cloud of toxic gas above the drill ground proved that everything that had happened was not a dream. Without the wind, the toxic gas did not spread. Instead, it suddenly shot up into the sky and shot towards a certain place in Yangjin. The Dugu Sword Emperor stood in the air. He looked down at the green-robed man and the bat demon, who were foaming at the mouth and were covered in green. The Dugu Sword Emperor finally understood why Yang Chuan had delayed for a few days. It was to trick the green-robed man. Yang Chuan had already guessed that he was coming. In order not to owe him a favor, he purposely delayed the feng shui array for a few days. Another human qi practitioner? Yang Chuan tricked another qi practitioner? The Dugu Sword Emperor looked at Yang Chuan speechlessly. Is he still human? Of course, the Dugu Sword Emperor only glanced at him before he chased after the toxic gas. The direction of the toxic gas was where the poisoner was. Killing the poisoner was more important. Chapter 178. At the Yangjin drill ground. Cracks appeared on the 4 small dragon heads as they crumbled under the impact of the feng shui array. But that was not important. What was important was the man and the demon in the center of the drill ground. The man in green was covered in green as the poison invaded his body. He fell to the ground as if he was having an epileptic seizure. Even so, the man in green stared at Yang Chuan with eyes full of sadness and innocence. He was a Qi Jing expert. How could he be defeated by a mortal? I didn't have the time to make a move, I didn't have the time. The bat demon was only in the Qi Jing state, it could not even open its eyes. When the embroidered uniform army saw this magnificent scene again, they all looked at Yang Chuan with admiration. Yang Chuan stepped forward slowly. Despicable bastard, how dare you poison me? My master will not let you go, he will not let you go. None of you will live, all of you will die. The man in green screamed as he twitched. Slap. Yang Chuan stepped on the man in green's face. Woo woo. The man in green's face turned black again. He almost fainted. The man in green was already prepared to be scolded and humiliated by Yang Chuan. However, who would have thought that Yang Chuan would kick him instead? A kick. When this foot landed on his face, it rubbed back and forth, as if he had stepped on dog poop and wanted to wipe his face clean. He had never been humiliated like this in all his years of cultivation. This blow was so deep that it directly destroyed the green-robed man's dignity. How many years had he been through this? The man in green cried. Hu Guang and the others looked at him strangely, crying. He was a Qi Jing expert, a true master of the gate of heaven. He cried because of the Lord of the Strength State. For a moment, the remaining lofty image of the Immortal sect experts in Hu Guang's heart completely collapsed. Master! Master my ass! Master my ass! The Jinyi army looked at the man in green with disdain. Yang Chuan stepped on the man in green and said, "This kick is to teach you a lesson. Don't curse anyone you see. You should do it, not talk. The more arrogant you are, the more ignorant you are. Bring him up." Yang Chuan shouted towards the distance. Yes. Soon, 3 prison wagons were brought to the drill ground. The wagons were covered with black cloth, so no one could see inside. Liu Gang, someone is here to save you. Yang Chuan shouted at one of the wagons. Before Liu Gang could speak, a surprised voice came from one of the wagons. Is that eldest senior brother? Senior brother, save me. It was the voice of the 3rd senior brother. Senior Save me. The crown prince's voice. Say something. Yang Chuan said to the man in green on the ground. But how could he speak when he was stepping on the green-robed man's face? Oh, sorry, I forgot about that. Yang Chuan gently released his right foot. Third junior brother? The man in green said sadly. Ha ha ha, it really is senior brother. Senior brother, save me. I was tricked by Yang Chuan. He is a liar. Capture Yang Chuan and save me. Senior brother, the third senior brother said happily. The man in green was numb. In the middle of the prison wagon, Liu Gang's face darkened. He could guess what was going on when he heard senior brother's voice. Yang Chuan? Liu Gang's heart skipped a beat. Senior brother, are you okay? Liu Gang asked with a pale face. Okay. The senior brother in green twitched and felt sad. Take him away. Yang Chuan waved his hand. Yes. The 3 Jin Yi army soldiers pulled the prison wagon away. Senior brother, save me, save me. The third senior brother continued to shout. Chapter 179. Save my ass. Your first senior brother can't even save himself. Why would he save you? Hua Guang cursed at the prisoner carriage. Ah! Impossible. Impossible. First senior brother is at the 6th level of the Qi realm, a peerless expert. You're lying. You're lying. Third senior brother screamed. Qi realm 6th level? Peerless expert? Every praise from his junior brother made him feel even more miserable. The first senior brother was filled with hatred. The prisoner carriage was taken away, leaving only the first senior brother in despair. Did you see them? They're still alive. Once we get back, tell Emperor Zheng to hand over the 42 cities in the northern frontier as soon as possible. This is what King Mui personally agreed to. The moment the 42 cities in the northern frontier are handed over will be the day I release them. You're going to let me go? The first senior brother was shocked. Yang Chuan smiled. Why would I kill you? Ah! The first senior brother was petrified. Why would he kill him? The first senior brother didn't understand. Wasn't the reason why he was in such a pitiful state? But remember, don't even think about it. I have ways to kill you. Yang Chuan said coldly. The green-robed eldest senior brother's face, which had turned black, suddenly turned red. The bat demon has a special body. It should be able to recover from this poison quickly. As for you, this poison won't kill you. Go back and find King Mui. He'll help you. Yang Chuan said. Poochie. Sure enough, the bat demon could move again. With great difficulty, the bat demon stood up. But at this moment, the bat demon looked at Yang Chuan in horror. It stood up and jumped to the side to avoid Yang Chuan. Yang Chuan kicked the first senior brother onto the bat demon's back. Take him to Emperor Zheng, Yang Chuan said. What? The bat demon retreated in fear. It flapped its wings and flew up, but fell back down. It flew in a sorry state. However, out of fear of Yang Chuan, it continued to flap its wings. Gradually, he became more and more immune to the poison and was finally able to fly. The bat soared into the sky and flew towards the south. However, its flight was still very wretched. It flew high and low at times. It was obvious that the poison had not been completely cleansed. Standing in the square, Yang Chuan watched the bat demon leave. Why did the Lord let him go? Hua Guang asked in confusion. Yang Chuan said in a low voice, once the young ones are captured, the old ones will come. There's no end to this. Today it's him. Next time, it might be King Mui. But if that's the case, we'll have to worry all the time. Hua Guang frowned. You're worried that they'll seek revenge? Haha, do I need to worry about these pieces of trash? Yang Chuan said confidently. King Mui knows that he's here, but he's just trying to go back on his word. If I let him go, King Mui won't be able to go back on his word. If you let the Crown Prince of Zheng go, what about the Crown Prince of Wei? Hua Guang asked. King Mui of Zheng is an immortal state warrior. He seems to be related to my father and the Dai sect. Therefore, we have to show him some respect. As for the ancestral patriarchs of the other 3 nations, They are only in the chi state. Even if they come to me, I have thousands of ways to kill them, Yang Chuan said with disdain. Yes. Hua Guang sighed and nodded. Suddenly, a ray of green light shot into the sky. Solitary Sword King, you're still haunting us. What do you want? An angry roar resounded through Beijing. Irreconcilable hatred, what do you say? Today, you will die without a doubt. Chapter 180. Shiying. A vast sword light soared into the sky, slashing at the green light in the sky. Bastard! How did you find me? You can't possibly find me. Kill. In the sky above Yangjing, the Immortals were fighting. Everyone was shocked and excited at the same time. At the drill ground, Yang Chuan led the embroidered uniform army to observe the battle in the sky. Star Luo Mountain Villa, Outer Valley, the group of Go Masters was waiting. Meng Rongrong had already guessed the result, so she did not care. She only waited for Yang Chuan to admit defeat. Giddy up. 3 groups of horses charged into the valley. Whoa! Liu Jin pulled on the reins and stopped. A new Go Stone. A new Go Stone. The group of Go Masters said excitedly. Liu Jin got off her horse and walked over. Everyone made way for Liu Jin. Meng Rongrong waited patiently. After all, the game was already at the end. Is she here to admit defeat? Hey! Meng Rongrong looked at Liu Jin in surprise. At this moment, Liu Jin actually picked up a black Go Stone and placed it on the Go board. Clack! The moment the black Go Stone was placed, everyone in the surroundings was confused. What is she doing? Is she seeking her own death? That's right. This is a self-filling hole. Has he admitted defeat? The group of Go Masters asked in confusion. Something's not right. A Go Master at the side was reviewing the game. According to Liu Jin's moves, the situation on the Go board changed completely after she took out 20 black Go Stones. Ah! That Go Master exclaimed. The group of Go Masters looked over at the Go board that was being reviewed. How can this be? This. Master Yi lost, a Go Master said in disbelief. Suddenly, all the Go Masters' expressions froze. They felt like a bone was stuck in their throats. What? Yi Feng lost? That's impossible. Meng Rongrong, who was full of confidence, said in disbelief. He stepped forward to take a look. Here? How could it be here? How could it fall here? Meng Rongrong looked at the chessboard in disbelief. Go and report this to the Grand Preceptor, Liu Jin said to the household servant, who was in a daze. Oh, yes. The household servant shouted in a daze. Then, he quickly ran into the valley. In the valley, Yi Feng closed his eyes and thought about the chessboard. Suddenly, footsteps could be heard from afar. Yi Feng opened his eyes with a flash of anticipation. How is it? Has he made his move? Yi Feng asked impatiently. Yes, it's the 9-5. The household servant shouted. Yi Feng's grandson looked at the chessboard and placed a black piece. Ha, is he courting death? No, that's not right. Yi Feng suddenly exclaimed. Grandpa, he lost 20 pieces. Yi Feng's grandson said. No, it's the 9-5. It's the 9-5. The position of the 9 and 5, the honor of the 9 and 5, the sovereign overlooking the world. What a sovereign overlooking the world. Grandpa, I lost. I actually lost. Ha. Yi Feng laughed freely. What? Grandpa, you lost? That's impossible. Also, even if something is wrong, you can definitely turn the tide. Yi Feng's grandson exclaimed. The position of the 9-5, the sovereign of the world, is unparalleled. I did not lose this game unjustly. Ha. Yi Feng laughed loudly. However, halfway through his laughter, his body suddenly swayed, and he fainted. Grandpa, what's wrong? Imperial physician, quick. The middle-aged man exclaimed. A man in embroidered robes quickly stepped forward and placed his hand on Yi Feng's pulse. After a while, he made a quick diagnosis. How is it? How is my grandpa? The middle-aged man asked anxiously. It's nothing serious. The Grand Preceptor has expended too much energy over the past few days and is just exhausted. He will be fine after a good sleep and a few days of rest. The imperial physician immediately said. That's good. Young master, what should we say to the outside world? A household servant asked with an unsightly expression. After all, Yi Feng had never lost before. If word of this got out, the middle-aged man shook his head and said, just tell them the truth. Grandpa has been indomitable all his life and does not care about reputation. Grandpa once said, do not fear defeat, do not admit defeat if you fear defeat. Go and report this. Yes. Chapter 181. Starnet Villa, in the Outer Valley. What? Master Yi admitted defeat. Can't Master Yi turn the tide? Master Yi has never been defeated before. How could he be defeated? The group of Go Masters continued shouting in disbelief. Yi Feng was a legend in the hearts of all the chess masters. Although Yi Feng had always refused to admit it, all the chess masters knew that the Yang state had a chess saint, the chess saint Yi Feng. However, the chess saint had actually lost today. No, it shouldn't be like this. The Go Masters reacted intensely. On the other side, Meng Rongrong kept staring at the chessboard. Burying my son? Yang Chuan actually buried such a deep pit. Meng Rongrong said in surprise. Eldest miss, what pit? Chongqing was puzzled. The position of 9 and 5. This position should have started to ambush Yang Chuan when he placed his 20th piece. It was left until the very end. It was the finishing touch. This piece was like a stroke of God. It was like the arrival of a sovereign. It swept the entire chessboard. Meng Rongrong exclaimed. A chess piece can sweep the entire chessboard? Chongqing gaped in shock. Meng Rongrong stared at the chess piece speechlessly. After watching for a while, Meng Rongrong suddenly looked at Liu Jin. Liu Jin sat by the side and sipped his tea peacefully. It was as if he had expected this and his face was filled with confidence. Meng Rongrong slowly walked over. Seeing this, Liu Jin immediately stood up. Greetings, Senior Meng. Liu Jin smiled. Obviously, Yang Chuan had told Liu Jin to be as polite to Meng Rongrong as possible. I heard from Chongqing that Yang Chuan hasn't joined the Dai sect yet, right? Meng Rongrong asked with a smile. Yes, but soon. Liu Jin smiled. Soon? Then how does Yang Chuan feel about my Julu Academy? Meng Rongrong asked. Senior, what do you mean? Liu Jin was puzzled. I want to lure Yang Chuan into my Julu Academy. I wonder if you can pass a message for me? Meng Rongrong asked. Julu Academy? How does it compare to the Dai sect? Liu Jin asked curiously. Chongqing suddenly laughed. Ha 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 ha, how can the Dai sect compare to my Julu Academy? Even 100 Dai sect can't compare to our Julu Academy. Let me tell you, my Julu Academy is one of the 4 great academies in the world. Even the people from the Holy Lands have to be polite to my Julu Academy. Liu Jin ignored Chongqing and looked at Meng Rongrong. Senior, are you interested in my Yaroju because of the game just now? That's right, that game was earth-shattering. It's a pity for such a talent to stay in the Dai sect. He should go to the Julu Academy, Meng Rongrong said with a smile. Liu Jin's expression changed. Senior, are you interested in the Villa Master of Xingluo Mountain Villa? Yi Feng. That's right, I want to lure him into the Julu Academy. Meng Rongrong didn't hide anything. Liu Jin immediately shook her head. I will tell the Lord. As for the Lord's decision, I can't make it. It's fine, you just have to tell him, Meng Rongrong said with a smile. Definitely, Liu Jin said in a deep voice. Meng Rongrong nodded and walked towards the household servant. Liu Jin narrowed her eyes and stared at this group of people. Men. Liu Jin said to an embroidered uniform soldier. Eunuch Liu. The soldier was puzzled. You too, quickly go back and report to the Lord. Tell him that Meng Rongrong wants to steal from the Lord and recruit Grand Preceptor Yi Feng, Liu Jin said. Ah. Okay, yes. The soldier immediately understood the seriousness of the situation. Chapter 182. In the sky above Yangjing, blood escape spear, explode. Boom. A large amount of blood mist erupted in the sky. Within the blood mist, a blood-red light shot towards the north of the city. You escaped last time, and now you want to escape again? Where do you think you're going? The Dugu Sword Emperor roared. Whoosh! Dugu Jianwang became one with his sword and instantly transformed into a sword light that shot towards the north. Yang Chuan looked at the sky and immediately mounted his horse. Let's go. The embroidered uniform army quickly mounted their horses and followed Yang Chuan out of the drill ground. Rushing out of the drill ground, they saw Yang Wudi galloping over on his horse. Uncle Wang? Yang Wudi also saw the crowd. Yes, let's go and take a look. Yang Chuan nodded. Higher. 2 days later. Liu Jin sat in a pavilion in the valley outside the Star Luo mountain villa. She held a cup of tea in her hand, and her eyes revealed traces of anxiety. Higher. A group of Fergana horses rushed into the valley. It was Yang Chuan's embroidered uniform army. The embroidered uniform army rushed towards Liu Jin, and Liu Jin quickly put down the teacup in her hand. How is it? Liu Jin asked anxiously. The Lord brought some people to the north to chase after the Dugu Sword Emperor and the Poisoner. Although we sent people to chase after them, the Lord has already gone far away. We haven't caught up yet. The embroidered uniform army said anxiously. Haven't caught up? Then we won't be able to inform the Lord, Liu Jin said with an ugly expression. Yes, we won't be able to catch up in a short period of time, the embroidered uniform army said with a dark expression. No matter what, send more people to chase after the Lord. You must pass on my words. The Lord spent so much effort playing chess with the Grand Preceptor. We can't let outsiders take advantage of him. We can't let outsiders poach him, Liu Jin said with a solemn expression. Yes, I'll go and inform the brothers who are guarding Yangjing to hurry up and chase after the Lord. The soldier also shouted. Okay, let's go, Liu Jin cried. Giddy up. The soldier urged his horse out of the valley. On the other side, a middle-aged man in a luxurious robe was receiving Meng Rongrong and her group. Everyone, grandfather is waiting for you in the valley. Please come in, the middle-aged man said respectfully. Meng Rongrong nodded. The group was about to be invited into the middle of the valley. Not good. Liu Jin's expression changed. Quick. Liu Jin quickly walked forward with the 2 embroidered uniform soldiers beside her. Wait. Liu Jin shouted. Meng Rongrong looked at him curiously. The middle-aged man also looked over curiously. May I ask if we are going to meet the Grand Tutor? Liu Jin immediately asked. That's right. Grandfather is inviting this senior into the valley. The middle-aged man nodded. Enter the valley? Did he inform us to enter the valley? Liu Jin asked anxiously. Grandfather said that when the chess player comes, he will inform us immediately, but the middle-aged man was in a difficult position. The chess player was Yang Chuan, and Liu Jin obviously wasn't. Therefore, she wasn't invited by Yi Feng. Well, the Lord wants me to bring a message to the Grand Tutor. Can I enter the valley? Liu Jin asked anxiously. But the middle-aged man hesitated. It's very important. It's very important, Liu Jin said anxiously. The middle-aged man looked at Liu Jin and thought for a while. Finally, he nodded and said, Okay. Come with me. Okay, thank you. Liu Jin immediately exhaled. Meng Rongrong was wearing a bamboo hat, but her eyes flashed with confusion. Liu Jin left one embroidered uniform soldier outside the valley and entered the valley with the other embroidered uniform soldier. Chapter 183. Inside the valley. There was a large hall with the words Soaring Hall written on a plaque. The 4 walls of the Soaring Hall were filled with bookshelves. Tens of thousands of books were placed on them. It was densely packed. There were some daily necessities around the hall. There were teacups, chopsticks, wine glasses, stools, and chairs. They were all in sets of 2. It was as if it was the living quarters of 2 people. Yi Feng, an old man in a white robe, was sitting on a comfortable chair. He was being served by a few servants. The old man was holding a small booklet in his hand. That's all? Yi Feng frowned and asked. Yes. This is all the information about the emperor equal to the emperor. There are no omissions from the moment he entered Yangjin. Everything about him in the feng shui formation is also real, a household servant said respectfully. The emperor equal to the emperor? Yang Chuan? He's a mystery. I can't see through him with this little information, Yifeng thought. While he was deep in thought, Yifeng's fingers tapped on the table as he analyzed the information about Yang Chuan. Soon, Meng Rongrong, Liu Jin, and the others were led by Yifeng's grandson to the soaring hall. Soaring hall? Flying. Only high-level cultivators can fly. It seems like the Grand Tutor is also thinking about flying. Meng Rongrong smiled as she looked at the plaque. The middle-aged man looked at the plaque and shook his head. Senior, you've misunderstood. The soaring hall is actually named to commemorate my grandmother. My grandmother's name is Chen Feitian. After she passed away, my grandfather couldn't forget her and changed the name of the hall to the soaring hall. I see. It seems that I've misunderstood. Meng Rongrong smiled bitterly. Liu Jin took a deep look at the plaque and said nothing. This way, please. The middle-aged man led the way. Millimeter. Everyone nodded. At this moment, someone also entered the hall to inform Yifeng. Yifeng put down the book in his hand and walked over. Yifeng smiled and walked to the door. Honored guest, please forgive me for not going out to welcome you. At this moment, Yifeng did not act like he was old, because Yifeng understood that it was impossible to judge the age of a cultivator. Perhaps these people were even older than him. Greetings, Grand Preceptor. Meng Rongrong smiled. Liu Jin greets the Grand Preceptor on behalf of the Emperor. Liu Jin immediately said, "Oh." Yifeng glanced at Liu Jin in surprise. From Yang Chuan's information, he naturally knew about Liu Jin. Everyone, please come in. Yifeng led everyone into the hall. Everyone nodded and stepped in. The household servant also quickly brought in a large number of chairs. He respectfully placed the chairs in the hall. The chairs were divided into 2 rows. The left row had 6 chairs, and the right row had 2 chairs, for 8 people. Everyone, please take a seat, Yifeng said with a smile. Meng Rongrong nodded and sat at the head of the left row. Chongqing and the others sat below her. Liu Jin sat at the second seat from the right row. The embroidered uniform soldier stood behind Liu Jin and did not take a seat. Millimeter? Everyone looked over curiously. The left row was full, and the right row was for Liu Jin and the embroidered uniform soldier. Why did Liu Jin sit at the second seat? And why was the embroidered uniform soldier not seated? Eunuch Liu, what are you doing? Yifeng asked curiously. I dare not hide it from the Grand Preceptor. This time, I came on behalf of the Lord. Therefore, the first seat is empty for the Lord, Liu Jin said respectfully. Empty for Yang Chuan? Meng Rongrong raised her brows, as if she felt that something was wrong. But she did not know what it was. Yifeng looked at Liu Jin meaningfully. He seemed to be deep in thought. Chapter 184. I won't hide it from the Grand Preceptor. This time, I have come on behalf of the Lord. Therefore, the first position is left empty for the Lord, Liu Jin said respectfully. Left empty for Yang Chuan? Meng Rongrong raised an eyebrow, as if sensing something amiss. But she didn't know what it was. Yifeng looked meaningfully at Liu Jin. He seemed to be deep in thought. All right. Yifeng smiled. Liu Jin nodded. Yifeng's grandson, who had led the way, also stood respectfully behind Yifeng. I heard from my grandson that you are seniors from the Julu Academy. Yifeng looked at Meng Rongrong and the others. That's right. This is the young miss of our Julu Academy. She is the daughter of the principal. Chongqing immediately introduced. Oh. Yifeng has been neglectful, Yifeng immediately said with a solemn expression. It's fine. I just happened to be there. When I saw the Grand Preceptor's game, I was filled with many emotions. Meng Rongrong said with a smile. Ha ha ha, that game was indeed the most exciting game I've ever played in my life. Unfortunately, I still lost in the end. Yifeng shook his head and laughed. Lost? That's pardonable, Meng Rongrong said with a smile. Oh. Yi Feng said with a smile. At the beginning of this game, you started 10 games at the same time, fighting 10 opponents alone. You couldn't concentrate on the 10th game, causing your initial setup to be flawed. This is the first reason. Yang Chuan had seen your game record, but you knew nothing about Yang Chuan. You weren't as careful as Yang Chuan when you placed your pieces. This is the second reason. With your back to the chessboard, you fought the enemy with a blind chess piece. This is the third reason. Old age, unable to fight for long periods of time, intermittent, unable to use all of his strength. This is the fourth reason. Even with these 4 losses, you can still play this game so brilliantly. Even if you lose, it's still understandable. Meng Rongrong said with a smile. That's right, Grand Preceptor. We all agree that your Go skills are definitely higher than Yang Chuan's. Chang Qing called out at the right time. Everyone from Julu Academy agreed with Meng Rongrong. That's right, Grandpa. You're the best at chess since ancient times, but because of these factors, you made a mistake. If you play again, you'll definitely win against Emperor Equal. The middle-aged man stood by Yi Feng's side and naturally chimed in. Yi Feng waved his hand to stop his grandson from talking. On the other side, the embroidered uniform soldier standing behind Liu Jin was enraged. He glared angrily at the people opposite him. A win is a win, and a loss is a loss. How can there be so many excuses on the battlefield? Liu Jin interjected. Millimeter? Chang Qing raised an eyebrow. You. Yi Feng's grandson, Yang Jing, glared at him. Yi Feng waved his hand to stop his grandson's impulse. Oh, I'd like to hear the details. Yi Feng said with a smile. The Lord once told me that when a chessboard is spread out, it is a battlefield. The horizontal part is the sky, and the vertical part is the earth. When a piece is placed, it is the beginning of the world. No amount of regret or reason can change the course of history. A win is a win, a loss is a loss. It's like 2 people fighting each other. Just because one of them didn't eat breakfast, does that mean he can come back to life? Isn't that laughable? Liu Jin shook her head. Millimeter? Meng Rongrong frowned. Meng Rongrong could see that Liu Jin was really going against her. Yi Feng's grandson also glared at him, regretting that he had brought him in. Ha 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 ha, well said. Yi Feng laughed. Yi Feng didn't blame Liu Jin. Instead, he was more interested in Yang Chuan. Liu Jin stood up and bowed slightly. Liu Jin is not disrespecting the Grand Preceptor. On the contrary, because the Lord respects the Grand Preceptor, Liu Jin respects him even more. Liu Jin just wants to tell the truth. The Grand Preceptor hasn't been playing chess with all his strength, and the Lord hasn't been playing chess with all his strength these days either. Chapter 185. Oh. Yi Feng asked curiously. The Lord said that the Grand Preceptor is a wise man. I don't need to say anything. I'm sure he'll be able to analyze the information reported by the servant. Liu Jin said with a smile. With that, Liu Jin sat down. Yi Feng looked at Liu Jin and nodded. That's right. Although I don't know what the Emperor is busy with these days, from the information, he's running around everywhere. He must be dealing with something more important. Yi Feng is impressed that you can beat me under such circumstances. Thank you for your praise, Grand Preceptor, Liu Jin said politely. On the other side, Meng Rongrong frowned. Obviously, after Chang Qing lost the power of the Yang state, he no longer knew what was happening in the Yang state every day. However, Meng Rongrong didn't care about that. After all, Meng Rongrong's following conditions were irresistible. Yang Chuan's chess skills are strong, but the Grand Preceptor's chess skills are also extraordinary. The Grand Preceptor is 92 years old this year, right? Meng Rongrong said with a smile. Yi Feng nodded. That's right. His time is coming, so he spends his days playing chess to amuse himself. He's spending his last days in peace. His time is coming. Haha, I wonder if the Grand Preceptor has any last wishes? Let me see if I can help you. Meng Rongrong said with a smile. Yi Feng's grandson's eyes lit up behind her. At that moment, anyone could hear Meng Rongrong's goodwill. She was extending an olive branch to Yi Feng. As long as Yi Feng opened his mouth, Meng Rongrong might be able to lure Yi Feng into the world of cultivation. Grandpa. Yi Feng's grandson whispered anxiously. Anyone could see his agitation, and his gaze seemed to be urging Yi Feng to quickly agree. However, it had been several decades. How much had Yi Feng experienced? Naturally, he wouldn't show his emotions on his face like his grandson. Last wishes? Senior, what kind of last wish can you fulfill for me? Yi Feng asked with a smile. Yi Feng didn't ask for the chance to live forever. No matter what, there was a skill involved. No matter when, he couldn't be passive. Do you know about the situation at Julu Academy? Meng Rongrong smiled. The previous generation's emperor equal to one-word emperor once told me about the world of cultivators. He especially mentioned the Julu Academy, the place where literature flourished, countless great scholars, the place where the world's wisdom spring. A word or action can affect thousands of sects in the world. Yi Feng nodded. Changqing and the others smiled comfortably. I wonder if the Grand Preceptor is willing to enter my Julu Academy. What about playing chess with the great Confucians of the world? Meng Rongrong laughed. Hey, Grandpa, the middle-aged man said excitedly. No matter how calm Yi Feng was, at this moment, his eyes flashed. Meng Rongrong had already spoken. Lead you into the gate of immortality. This was Yi Feng's wish for several decades. He took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Senior, don't you know my root bone? Yi Feng smiled bitterly. Of course I know. So what if your root bone is poor? The cultivation world has plenty of resources. Your only disadvantage is that you're too old. Many of your body's functions can't be recovered. You can't pass the first heaven's lightning tribulation. However, you're already at level 10 of the power realm. I have a essence boosting pill that can help you enter the essence state. Once you enter the essence state, I'll personally lead you into the Julu Academy. In the Julu Academy, you'll definitely be able to unleash your wisdom. Meng Rongrong smiled. Essence boosting pill? Yi Feng's expression changed for the first time. Changqing smiled and said, that's right, it's the essence boosting pill. In the cultivation world, there are countless pills, but there are only a few pills that can resist the lightning tribulation. They're extremely precious. Most of the time, they can't be bought with spirit stones. Young lady got this pill by chance from the Dazhao sacred ground. As long as you swallow it, you'll enter the essence state and your lifespan will double. Moreover, young lady will personally lead you into the Julu Academy. You'll definitely be valued in the Julu Academy. You can't miss this opportunity. Chapter 186. Grandpa. The middle-aged man's breathing quickened. This was truly the beginning of the end of bitterness. Grandpa's lifelong wish was finally about to be fulfilled. Yi Feng looked at Meng Rongrong. Although he was excited, he analyzed the authenticity of Meng Rongrong's words. This is the essence boosting pill. You should have heard of it before. Meng Rongrong confidently took out a pill bottle and handed it over. The middle-aged man carefully took it and handed it to Yi Feng. Yi Feng looked at the bottle and his eyes lit up. Not bad, not bad. Yang Dao introduced it before. This is it. Even the steady Yi Feng was no longer calm at this moment. Liu Jin's expression froze. She suddenly remembered. Back then, the saintess of the Dazhao Holy Land, Mo Yuxi, had asked Qing Long to give a pill to the Lord. At that time, when they first met, the half-baked feng shui master Ding Wugu had killed 2 silver-armored soldiers. The Lord had mentioned that the pill was precious. It seemed to be called the essence-boosting pill. Essence-boosting pill? How about it, Grand Preceptor? Julu Academy is the holy land of the wise. If you go, you will definitely be able to display your talent. Meng Rongrong said with a smile. Thank you for your kindness, Senior, Yi Feng said emotionally. As long as Grand Preceptor agrees, this essence-boosting pill is yours, Meng Rongrong said with a smile. Yi Feng was about to speak. Wait. Liu Jin suddenly shouted. Liu Jin, what are you doing? Yi Feng's grandson suddenly shouted. Yi Feng waved his hand to stop his grandson from interrupting. What? Is there something else, Eunuch Liu? Yi Feng asked doubtfully. Liu Jin took a deep breath and stood up. She bowed slightly and said, I know it is wrong to interrupt Grand Preceptor, but please listen to me. Oh! Yi Feng looked curiously at Liu Jin. Meng Rongrong also looked over with a frown. The Lord told me to personally place the last piece. At the same time, he told me to tell Grand Preceptor that the Lord will come soon and play another game with you. Liu Jin said solemnly. Is that so? I welcome it. Yi Feng said with a smile. The Lord said that he is looking forward to playing chess with the Grand Preceptor. At the same time, he has something more important to discuss with the Grand Preceptor. Something more important? Yi Feng's words. Liu Jin took a deep breath and said, His Highness said that the Grand Preceptor is old and wise. He can see through many things. I hope that the Grand Preceptor will accept Senior Meng's invitation after His Highness arrives. Liu Jin thought about it but did not mention that she had a spirit-boosting pill. She showed a bitter expression, unsure of how to persuade Yi Feng. Why? Changqing immediately called out. What kind of joke is this? Yi Feng's grandson said angrily. Liu Jin. What do you mean? Meng Rongrong said with a frown. Senior Meng, please forgive me, Liu Jin said indifferently. Do you think we can wait just because you said so? Yi Feng's grandson rebuked. How could they miss such a good opportunity? Yi Feng stared at Liu Jin. He could see the urgency on Liu Jin's face. His eyes flashed as if he was quickly analyzing everything. Senior. Yi Feng suddenly looked at Meng Rongrong. Meng Rongrong was puzzled. Yi Feng is old. I no longer have any extravagant hopes in my old age and only play chess to pass my life. Thank you for your kindness. I want to enter the world of cultivation. I really want to, and I am grateful for the preferential treatment you have given me, Yi Feng said solemnly. Liu Jin opened her mouth anxiously. Evergreen and the others smiled faintly. It was as if victory was in their hands. However, I, Yi Feng, have my own ideas. I am the king of chess, and I have never seen anyone like you before. For the sake of the purity of this last game, I want to wait until after the game to answer you. Is that all right? Yi Feng said sincerely. Yi Feng's grandson opened his mouth in shock. What? Changqing and the others said in disbelief. Meng Rongrong also frowned. Her eyes were filled with surprise. However, after the surprise, Meng Rongrong had a hint of admiration in her eyes. For him to not be blinded by greed meant that this person was even more outstanding than she had imagined. Very well. The Julu Academy's doors will always be open to you, Meng Rongrong said confidently and satisfactorily. Thank you. Yi Feng smiled. Thank you, Grand Preceptor. Liu Jin was also pleasantly surprised. After all, Meng Rongrong's offer was tempting even to her, but Yi Feng was delaying for a game of chess. That's great, that's great. Your Highness, come back quickly. Chapter 187. After arranging for Meng Rongrong, Liu Jin, and the others to rest, Yi Feng and his grandson were the only ones left in the soaring palace. Grandpa, why didn't you agree to such a good opportunity? The middle-aged man asked anxiously. Oh. Yi Feng smiled at his grandson. If Grandpa had agreed, you would have immediately entered the Immortal sect. That Julu Academy seems to be a very big Immortal sect. The Dean's daughter values Grandpa so much. With Grandpa's talent, you would definitely rise quickly in the Julu Academy. Yi Feng shook his head gently. I wanted to talk about it after the game, but you could have agreed to the Julu Academy. It wouldn't have been too late to play Go then. Grandpa, I really shouldn't have brought that Liu Jin here. He didn't even say anything. Why did Grandpa listen to him? The middle-aged man said regretfully. No, he already said what he needed to say. Not only did he say it, but he also said a lot. Yi Feng shook his head. Ah? The middle-aged man asked curiously. He only needed to show the attitude of a king on a par with the emperor. That's enough. I can guess the rest. Yi Feng said with a smile. Yang Chuan's attitude? What attitude? That Yang Chuan is just a kid in his teens. At most, he plays Go extremely well, the middle-aged man said in disbelief. No, The Go game is different from other games. Great Go skills require a big heart to bear them. Yi Feng shook his head. Ah! Although I've never met Yang Chuan, and even collected very little information about him, I can see his strength from this information. Yi Feng said thoughtfully. Strength? Him? That senior from Julu Academy would be able to crush him to death with a single finger. I'm not talking about strength, but courage. Yi Feng said gravely. Courage? He brought 3,000 members of the Brigade Yi army into Beijing. Now, there are only 300 of them around Yang Chuan. Where are the other 2,700 members of the Brigade Yi army? Yi Feng looked at Sun Zi with a smile. I don't know. I've sent many people to investigate, but there's still no news. The middle-aged man was slightly stunned. Grandpa, you know? Yi Feng smiled and nodded his head. These 2,700 embroidered Yi army members are currently doing something major. Just wait, there will be news very soon. Something big. What is it? Yi Feng shook his head and did not explain. Grandpa, we shouldn't delay the people from Julu Academy. What if they get angry? This is a rare opportunity. Yi Feng smiled faintly and shook his head. You might not know, but the new emperor is much more powerful than the old one. Grandpa, what did you say? Yang Chuan is more powerful than Yang Dao? How is that possible? The middle-aged man said in disbelief. It's true. Yi Feng nodded. Grandpa, how did you know? From this game of chess, I can tell. Yi Feng said with certainty. I've already waited for dozens of years. It doesn't matter if I wait for a few days. I'm still looking forward to this Yang Chuan. Yi Feng laughed. But, Grandpa, you're 92 years old. You can't delay it for much longer. If you anger the people from Julu Academy, Grandpa's wish for many years, isn't it? The middle-aged man said with a complicated expression. Yi Feng shook his head and sighed. Yang Chuan is right. When a person is about to die, he can see through many things. But, Grandpa. Chapter 188. Say no more. I have my own plans. Wait. All right. The middle-aged man was helpless. Giddy up. Yang Chuan, Yang Wudi, Hua Guang, and the 200 embroidered uniform army soldiers were galloping on the rugged mountain road. Over there, Lord is over there. Hua Guang pointed into the distance. Let's go. Everyone chased after him. The direction that Hua Guang pointed at was filled with sword radiance. Numerous sharp blades pierced in all directions, creating a loud explosion. Sword chi shot out in all directions, flattening half of the surrounding mountains. No. Poisoner's terrified cry could be heard from the center of the sword chi. Poisoner, give me your life. Following the Dugu Sword Emperor's roar, the thousands of sword chi were suddenly sucked back into his body. It was as if 10,000 arrows had pierced through his heart. Boom! A loud explosion was heard, and a huge gust of wind blew in all directions. Smoke and dust rose, causing Yang Chuan and the rest to immediately pull on the reins and stop their advance. After the smoke and dust dispersed, Yang Chuan and the rest rode forward again. Bang! A dull sound was heard, and the battle stopped. The two people in the air landed on the ground. Poisoner's face was pale as he lay on the ground. There were countless cracks all over his body, and one could see the white bones exposed from every crack. Dugu Sword Emperor, I will take revenge, the weak poisoner said with a ferocious expression. You won't have the chance. Now, I will chop off your head and offer it to her soul in heaven. The Dugu Sword Emperor also had a ferocious expression. Sheeing. Boom. Poisoner's head was chopped off, and fresh blood gushed out from his neck. Even before his death, Poisoner's eyes were still wide open, filled with unwillingness, and great hatred. After chopping off Poisoner's head, the Dugu Sword Emperor went silent, closed his eyes, and immersed himself in his own world. However, when Yang Chuan and the rest arrived, the Dugu Sword Emperor's closed eyes were already overflowing with tears. For 20 years, the Dugu Sword Emperor had been thinking about revenge every day. However, after killing his last enemy, the Dugu Sword Emperor realized that his heart had become empty. So what if his enemies were all dead? She could no longer come back. Master. Yang Wudi softly. Everyone dismounted. Yang Wudi's voice awakened Dugu Jianwang, and he wiped away his tears. The Dugu Sword Emperor looked at Yang and the rest. Many thanks. Solitary Sword King said sincerely. Because of Yang Chuan, Dugu Jianwang was able to kill his enemy. The Dugu Sword Emperor's voice was extremely solemn. It's nothing. Remember what you promised me. Teach Yang Wudi well. Yang Chuan said solemnly. Don't worry. The Dugu Sword Emperor nodded affirmatively. The Dugu Sword Emperor walked to the side and picked up Poisoner's head. He then looked at Yang Wudi. Disciple, come with me. I'll bring you to pay respects to your master's wife. The Dugu Sword Emperor sighed. Yes. Yang Wudi nodded. After paying respects to her, we'll return to Yangjing and bid farewell to everyone. At that time, I have something for you. Yang Chuan said to Yang Wudi. Millimeter. Yang Wudi nodded. Let's go. The Dugu Sword Emperor wasn't in the mood for anything else. He waved his sleeves and brought Yang Wudi up into the sky. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared into the distance. He watched the two of them leave. Yang Chuan looked at Poisoner's corpse again. His head had been chopped off. All that was left was a headless corpse. A few embroidered uniform soldiers quickly searched the headless corpse. Lord, there's nothing on this person. One of the embroidered uniform soldiers shouted. Perhaps he was in a hurry during the battle. Poisoner's belongings should be in Yangjing City, Hu Guang said after some thought. Also, since Yang Chuan is here, it's good to bring him into the Julu Academy, Meng Rongrong said with a smile. Chapter 190. Giddy up. Giddy up. In the outer valley of the Starnet Villa, the sound of galloping horses could be heard. Who? Yang Chuan pulled on the reins. The Hanshua horses neighed loudly, and the embroidered uniform guards behind them all stopped. Emperor equal to the Emperor? The Emperor is here. He's really a king on par with me. The surrounding Go masters immediately revealed shocked expressions. At this moment, no one dared to underestimate Yang Chuan anymore. When everyone looked at Yang Chuan, they all showed reverence. One had to know that the chess saint Yi Feng was an undefeated legend. The young man in front of him had actually defeated a legend. How good was this person's Go skills? Liu Jin spotted Yang Chuan from afar and quickly approached him. Lord, you're finally here. Liu Jin exhaled deeply. How is it? Yang Chuan asked in a deep voice. That day, the old slave went with everyone from the Julu Academy. Liu Jin immediately recounted the events of that day. Yang Chuan listened carefully. Lord, that's it. Liu Jin explained in detail. Taking a deep breath, Yang Chuan nodded and smiled. Liu Jin, you've matured. Well done. Ah, yes, thank the Lord. Liu Jin said immediately. But Lord, the old slave still doesn't understand. I didn't say anything at that time. Why didn't Yi Feng accept the goodwill of the Julu Academy? Liu Jin asked curiously. Yi Feng is a wise man. He knows that once he accepts it, he can't take it back. Moreover, during the game of Go, I told him a lot. Yang Chuan said with a smile. Oh. Liu Jin was still a little puzzled. At this time, Yi Feng's grandson also came over. Yi Lin greets the emperor. Yi Lin still looked at Yang Chuan in an unfriendly manner. You are the grandson that Grand Tutor Yi Feng values the most. Yang Chuan said with a smile. Grandfather is resting for the time being, but he told me that if the Lord comes, I am to lead you to the middle of the valley so you can rest first. Yi Lin took a deep breath and said. Before Yang Chuan could say anything, another person walked up from nearby. Chang Qing. Chang Qing walked over and said with a smile, Emperor equal to 1, senior. Yi Lin said politely. Chang Qing nodded at Yi Lin and turned to look at Yang Chuan. Oh, it's Chang Qing? Yang Chuan smiled. Young mistress knows that you are here and specially asked me to invite you over. She has something important to discuss with you. Chang Qing said with a smile. Oh. Yi Lin, Yi Feng is resting now. Let me borrow your guest. Chang Qing said with a smile. Of course. Yi Lin was naturally polite. Yang Chuan looked at Changqing quietly. Then he smiled and said, "All right, then I'll have to trouble you. Please." Changqing said with a smile. "Hu Guang, leave 2 people to wait for me in the outer valley. Bring the rest back to Beijing to look for poisonous relics." Yang Chuan ordered. "Yes." Hu Guang replied. "Liu Jin, follow me into the valley." "Yes." Yang Chuan and Liu Jin quickly entered the middle of the valley under Changqing's lead. In the middle of the valley, the environment was beautiful and hundreds of flowers were blooming. There was a waterfall in the distance and a large lake in the middle. It looked like a fairyland. "The environment is great," Yang Chuan praised. "That's right. There aren't many natural environments like this." Changqing sighed. As they spoke, they arrived at a pavilion by the lake. At this moment, Meng Rongrong was sitting in the pavilion, drinking tea and looking at the lake. 4 Julu Academy students who were with Changqing stood at the side of the pavilion. Chapter 191. Eldest Miss, Yang Chuan is here. Changqing shouted. Meng Rongrong turned around and stood up slightly. "Prince Yang, we meet again." Meng Rongrong smiled. "I dare not. I have never met you before." Yang Chuan smiled. "Hey!" Everyone was slightly stunned. Meng Rongrong smiled and gently took off the bamboo hat on her head. As soon as the bamboo hat was taken off, a peerless beauty was revealed. There was a beauty mole at the corner of her eye, which showed Meng Rongrong's peerless beauty. "Ah!" Outside the pavilion, Yi Lin looked at Meng Rongrong in surprise. Obviously, Meng Rongrong's beauty had a great impact on Yi Lin. Liu Jin was a eunuch. Although he was stunned, he did not have any desire. Yang Chuan was also stunned, but he was very calm and did not make a fool of himself. "Have a seat." Meng Rongrong smiled. This smile was like 100 flowers blooming. Yi Lin, who was at the side, was stunned. Changqing and the others also blushed slightly. They did not dare to look at eldest miss again. "Okay." Yang Chuan nodded. Meng Rongrong and Yang Chuan sat down. Liu Jin stood behind Yang Chuan. Changqing and the others stood behind Meng Rongrong. Outside the pavilion, Yi Lin looked and realized that he had lost his composure. He looked at the pavilion again and then left reluctantly. "I have been studying Prince Yang's chess game these few days. It is very exciting." Meng Rongrong smiled. "Thank you," Yang Chuan said directly. Yang Chuan didn't stand on ceremony. He picked up the tea and drank it. "What does Prince Yang think of the Julu Academy?" Meng Rongrong asked. "I don't have any opinions. I haven't been there before, so I can't comment on it. If Miss Meng has something to say, you may as well say it directly," Yang Chuan said with a faint smile. Although Yang Chuan's tone was polite, Meng Rongrong could hear the distance between the lines. "Haha, I'll get straight to the point. With your ability, I'm sure you can guess what the Julu Academy is like. I invited you here to ask if you're interested in joining the Julu Academy," Meng Rongrong said with a smile. "Enter the Julu Academy?" Yang Chuan pondered. "That's right. You should understand that although the Julu Academy can't be considered one of the top sects in the world, it is much better than your day sect. Moreover, the Julu Academy has been passed down for 50,000 years, Meng Rongrong said. 50,000 years? Yang Chuan thought for a moment. This was because Yang Chuan had never heard of the Julu Academy in his previous life. "What do you think?" Meng Rongrong said with a smile. After taking a deep breath, Yang Chuan put down his teacup and said solemnly, "Yang Chuan can see the sincerity in Miss Meng's invitation." "Yang Chuan thanks you." Meng Rongrong smiled faintly. "However, I'm very sorry. I, Yang Chuan, have my own way of thinking. I have my own path. Although the Julu Academy is good, it's not what I want." Yang Chuan shook his head. Meng Rongrong frowned. Also, Miss Meng's previous actions, were they not open and above board? Yang Chuan asked in a low voice. "Yang Chuan, what did you say?" Changqing immediately glared. Yang Chuan glanced at Changqing and ignored him. Instead, he stared at Meng Rongrong with a questioning gaze. "Not open and above board? Are you saying that Changqing is an official in the Yang state?" Meng Rongrong asked in a low voice. "No, I don't care about what happened in the past. As long as it doesn't threaten the Yang state, I can turn a blind eye. I'm talking about the matter of Miss Meng meeting Grand Preceptor Yi Feng a few days ago, Yang Chuan said in a low voice. Oh, am I not open and above board? Meng Rongrong asked in a low voice. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.